ಹಾವು ಹಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕಾಶ ನೀಲಿಯ ಸೊಬಗು, ಚಿಟ್ಟ ಚಿರತೆ ಕಪ್ಪೆ ಮಿಡತೆಯ ಮೆರಗು. ಹಾವು ಹಲ್ಲಿ
So climate change parallelly increasing the human populations that will impact on biodiversity. So this biodiversity not only impacts on biotic factors and also abiotic factors. Among the biotic factors which makes the climate change to become minor diseases to become major diseases becomes to minor diseases. Next. So among that, for any forestations and afforestation programs, nursery is one of the primary point for quality seedling productions. So that nurseries very highly quality seedlings are important for afforestation programs. But due to negligency and unaware of and even lack of knowledge on abiotic and biotic stress in the nurseries, we are missing so many informations and we are missing so many causes at nursery level due to lack of informations. Among them, one of the factor is diseases. Diseases are causes mortality and losses to the seedlings. It will definitely affect the whole plantation programs. These diseases, when it comes to diseases, humans are more important and agriculture plants are more important, but still this is the time tree diseases also are important. So we need to look into these aspects where in forest management, diseases studies and pest studies also one of the important factors for management solutions. Next slide. There is always confusion at nursery level, diseases and deficiencies. So diseases are, when you study the diseases, we have to know what actually causes of the diseases, and we have to prove the Koch postulates, pathogenicity test, and also if diseases caused by particular symptoms and signs. But in case of deficiency, it is a uniform in the all over the field. It is not like isolated. So deficiency is caused by maybe nutritional deficiency and physiological disorders. Next slide. Why this type of studies are required? Because as of now, in forestry species, we don't have much studies on nursery diseases, though it is mentioned based on observations. It is not clearly a scientific evidence and molecular evidence and morphological evidence. So we need to study the proper etiology and study outbreaks in the forest diseases, forest plants. And also requires we don't have for any management, without diagnosis, no management. So we have to first diagnose the disease, then we can go for management. So diagnosis is one of the key steps for devising the management solutions. So that's why we have taken up these studies to explore the nursery diseases in the different nurseries of central India. Next. The methodology which we followed is simple. We have visited the different nurseries and collected the samples and recorded the disease incidence and severities, followed by collected these disease infected samples. Isolation was done, morphological molecular characterization was done. Next. So this is the overall disease incidence and severity in the selected 22 nurseries of different central India, including Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh. So the average disease incidence is 47%, with the maximum incidence varies from up to 70%, but disease incidence, when you look at, it is there in all the type of nurseries. Because of nursery is one of the most favorable weather conditions which invite both diseases and pest. Next. So this is the look of how the diseases looks in a different nursery. We have taken a major tree species. So this is a pic of various diseases in different nurseries. Next. Next. So afterwards we have characterized the isolation. We have done collected samples and isolated and also purified the pathogens. And in these studies we have taken around 40 fungal pathogens were isolated and characterized. Next. So also parallelly, we have given a morphological evidence with microscopy evidence and molecular evidence using ITS and TEP sequence to confirm the exact etiology of the particular disease. Next. So what takeaway message from this study is? So now I am going to take how these studies are helping to know the present status of diseases. Among that, one of the neem dieback is one of the epidemic disease in southern India. As it has been reported first in Dehradun, but now the most prevalent in Karnataka, followed by its spreads to Andhra Pradesh. So many news report has been mentioned that the outbreak already, the disease is gradually spreading to Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. So when we see now avenue roving surveys, Maharashtra, the lot of 30 to 40% disease neem dieback incidence is there. So next. So this disease is caused by complex because of diseases and also predisposing factor of the T mosquito bugs. So there is association of both insects. Insects makes the damage, so that invites the diseases. So that invites diseases of 3 important pathogens like Pomopsis, Fusarium and Macropomina. So this is the major important symptoms. So first is when the T mosquito bug in right, I mentioned that T mosquito bugs will make a hole that invites the secondary infections of the fungal, so leads to gammasis, dieback, and sometimes, so we need a proper case studies work, proper concrete work on this type of diseases where we have seeing a mass mortality of the neem trees in many states. Next. In another important, Fusarium is also causing both in nursery stage and plantation stage. Fusarium wilt and root rot symptoms in neem also there. Next. Another important diseases in nursery, because of excess soil moisture and temperature, nursery is one of the most important because this especially damping up is most common pathogens in nurseries which invites because of excess soil moisture and humidity is maintained. So definitely that condition makes the pathogens to be favorable for the infections and spreads. So among them, damping up is one of the most important in nurseries. In bamboo also we have found association of Fusarium and Rhizoctonia solani in bamboos we have characterized. Next. Fusarium comrade, nobody knows when it comes to forest traps and at ground level. Because when we visited the plantation sites, we have seen 2 important plantation that was 10 hectares was done. So almost infections process was there. Next. Another important in future trade cultivations, nobody can even imagine the phytoplasma is one of the emerging diseases in bamboo. It is called witch's broom because that transforms that leaf into thread-like structures like pillory-like structures, makes it is one of the most important prevalence in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. Now the disease is spreading and the infection is 20 to 30%. Next. Next. This is the important symptoms, and also in affected plantations, you can see the devastation of losses in bamboo ecosystems. Next. Another important diseases in central India, maua, one of the important tree species, NTFE species, where the nursery, because of foliage humidities, so it creates the foliar diseases, association of Pasteurothiopsis, Colatotrichum, and Alternaria. Next. So we found that it is the first global report of first incidence of Alternaria tenosuma in Maduka longifolia that we have reported, and it's under communications. Next. Also molecular characterization was 100% it is matched to Alternaria tenosuma. Next. Incidence of leaf drive caused by the Alternaria curvularia and also Rhizoctonia also there in case of teak. Next. Incidence of canker and dieback in wilt diseases of teak associated with Fusarium and Diaporthe, we have characterized in teak, it was there, and in plantations, the canker disease was incidence of 20 to 25% in the plant, in field was observed. Next. In similarly, Alternaria in case of Khamir, Melina arborea. Next. Incidence of, because of overlooking of sandal phytoplasma, sandal spike, we are neglecting other diseases. So when you see the infections, so around 20 to 25% of the incidence was this dieback is causing in sandal. So when the pathologist looks, he can able to identify, but others not able to. Because of that negligency, we are still need to work more on etiology and reporting of diseases in many forestry important tree species. Next. So this is one of the unknown etiology which I predicted when you visited repeatedly from past to 4 to 5 years. I am visiting the same sites. I am feeling same thing. What could be these reasons? But still now I am getting some preliminary examinations, but not able to come to the conclusions because so many factors are involving, especially for this Chironji, Buchnania lengen, one of the non-timber forest products. But still it requires some proper study for these things. Next. Okay, sir, I just want to skip because I have prepared for 10 minutes. So due to time shortage like this, I'm not able to complete my presentations. Parallelly, we think that mushrooms, which causes many, which are wood degrading fungi and diseases, but many are thinking that mushrooms are only edible. But mushroom causes multiple functions in ecosystems because diversity of mushroom in such a way that even we cannot imagine, which are role in wood degradation, which are role in saprophytisms, which are role in the Detrophytes, which are also role as a medicinally important. It is also role as a, even it is also causing pathogenic fungi. In agriculture, Ganoderma is ruling and it is breaking like anything in many of the tree species, many of the plantations. Next. This is we reported many macrofungi in Karnataka Tiger reserves and come to the conclusions that diversity of macrofungi is also important for the ecosystem service functions. Next. Next. So these mushrooms are nutraceutical importance. If you imagine 1 kg of this rugra mushroom is 800 rupees, 900 rupees. They are selling at local rupees, one of the income source for the tribal peoples. Next. So also pharmacologically importance, we have given publication for this, that Ganoderma is having a pharmacologically importance. Next. Next. So diversity of that, we made it as a coffee table book that how the mushrooms will be used for different purpose in ecosystem service, to make them others to end users to be easy way of reading, to understand about diversity of macrofungi. Next. Coming to conclusion that my study is giving the overall, though the timing is very short, so giving that disease studies also more important. Just I am inspiring here PhD students, research scholars that so need to overlook and need to keen observe in the fields. So definitely this is the one of the interest area to work on forest pathology and forest microbiology. Thank you with this. So it is not possible by one person. We have to get together and work together for betterment of the science. Thank you. If any questions, I will. Yes, sir. Yes.
So do you have any standardized protocol for teak and sandal diseases?
For teak and sandal disease, sir. Since I am now reporting the diseases. I am in nursery stage, like same. I am just developing myself database, what type of diseases are observing from past 3 to 4 years, sir. So after studying proper diseases, after characterizations, I am going for management, eco-friendly management. Because we are not having in diagnosis, we are still at diagnosis part, sir. We are not at management parts. So without diagnosis, no management. So for myself, if I want to do proper protocols for any management, I have to myself characterize, sir. We have not up to now in forestry, we have not characterized proper fungicides, green fungicides. We don't have any data, sir. So how I can make any protocols for management without studies?
Okay, it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
That is the main thread for nursery production, quality is nursery production. That's
Next speaker is Shreya Shokanawar. You have 6 minutes to present your presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. One and all present here. Myself, Shreya Shoknawar, belonging from the Department of Marine Biology, KUPG Center, Karwar. The topic of my presentation is assessment of shoreline dependency for traditional fishing along the Karwar coast. Okay. The first question that arises in the one and all present here is exactly what is traditional fishing? Traditional fisheries means actually it can be defined as the fishing that relies on the local knowledge, that is the knowledge of fishing that is passed from one generation to the another. In simple ways we can say that it is simple and using basic tools, that is harpoons, anchors and all stuffs. The second question that would come in your mind is why have I chosen or what is special about Karwar coast that I have chosen it as a case study. So, Karwar plays as a prime location for the baseline study, or we can say that it is a prime location for the replenishment and breeding center of many marine organisms. Also, it has a large diversification of marine life, such as oil sardines, pomfrets, mackerels, and benthic organisms, such as sea anemones, sponges, etc. Also, Karwar gives a very calm and composed environment for the organisms to replenish. This is the reason why I have chosen Karwar as a case study. The objectives or the aim of my assessment is to understand the role of shoreline fisheries that is supporting the traditional fishing along the Karwar coast. Second, I wanted to document the number of motorized and non-motorized boats that are used along the Karwar beach. Materials and methods, basically in this slide, I have presented that the study that we have done is along for the 3 months of period, that is March to May, and the coastline that we covered is approximately 5 kilometers. Motorized and non-motorized boats both were studied in this survey. Also, the basic fishing gear were used in this study. Personals or fishermen were interviewed for this documentation. Also, fishermen were interviewed for their grievances. Area of survey, the area that we surveyed was from Aligadda Karwar beach to Sagar Darshan, and 3 more places are there. These are the coordinates given. The areas that we screened was Aligadda beach, Hanuman beach, Rabindranath Tagore beach and Sagar Darshan beach. Shoreline dependency in Karwar coast. The traditional fisheries or gears and craft that is used in Karnataka are basically rampani, dugout canoe, and yendi, or we can call it a shore scene. So rampani is actually a larger version, and it requires a lot of manpower, that is 10 to 15 men are required, while yendi or shore scene is a smaller version of rampani, and it requires only 5 to 8 people. Next, the reason why traditional fishery or fishermen are very dependent on shoreline is along the beach they prepare nets, mending, repairing, storage of boats or fishery stuff, fish drying and salting. Many methods for drying and salting are present, like kench salting and etc. Docking and maintenance of gear and craft, as well as recreational fisheries. Types of boats operated were motorized boats and non-motorized boats. Motorized boats are basically the boats that have engine horsepower can vary up to 5 to 7, 10, 15. It is according to the operation that has to be carried out. Non-motorized boat, on the other hand, is the basic. That means it requires manpower. This was the record, or this is the documentation that we got by surveying. That is in Aligadda, non-motorized boats were 37, motorized while the motorized had 15. Hanuman Beach, non-motorized is 15, motorized 34. Sagar Darshan, 50 and 37. So the total was non-motorized boat 87, while motorized is 136. That is, we concluded that is double the number motorized boat. That is, more number of fishermen prefer motorized boat over non-motorized. So threats to Karwar shoreline, as we all know, as there is a saying, every new problem, or we can say whenever a change occurs, there is resistance. So it can be also known as the fear of unknown. So whenever something new occurs or something new we try to implement, there is a resistance. Everyone tries to resist or stick to what is ancient or that is going on. So one of such program or development is taking place in Karwar. That is port expansion. Port expansion can further be described as it is the building or renovating more or stable infrastructure of the port. Beach erosion measures can basically be termed as the erosion that takes place in the shoreline due to many anthropogenic as well as natural activities. And beach armoring comes under beach erosion. That is the measures or preventive measures that we are taking so as to prevent the beach erosion. Lastly, I would conclude, this is a point of view that we got, that stakeholders' participation needs to be involved more. That is, stakeholder here means the fishermen. And coastal development needs to be considered, that is socio-economic importance of the shoreline to traditional fishing communities. Thank you. Thank you.
Next speaker is Kavya Raj. After Kavya Raj, Dr. Lakshmikant.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kavya Raj A, MSc Forestry student from Navsari Agriculture University. I am presenting on the behalf of my sir, my guide, Dr. M.S. Sankanur, sir, from Assistant Professor of Navsari Agriculture University. My topic is evaluation of fuel quality of briquettes produced from Bambusa arundinaceae, charcoal and leaf litter among commercial tropical tree species, an approach for waste to wealth creation. As we all know that most of the times the leaf litter is being unused. So most of the time it is considered as a waste. In case of eucalyptus, there is a problem called allelopathic effect. So most of the times, by converting it into the briquette forms, along with the Bambusa arundinaceae, briquettes is basically briquettes are condensed form of biomass. So it can be used as a fuel. Our objective is to analyze the qualitative characteristics of charcoal as well as to identify the fuel value index. The experimental design we used is that is Bambusa arundinaceae with Schizoidium cumini. Second treatment we used is thorny bamboo with cannabis tree. Third one is thorny bamboo plus eucalyptus. Fourth one is thorny bamboo plus teak. Fifth one is thorny bamboo plus casuarina. And sixth one is salt thorny bamboo. The methodology we used. First of all, we made 3 centimeter into 8 centimeter of briquettes. We made using the briquette making machine by converting the bambusa into charcoal powder. After that, we mixed it with leaf litter. By drying it, we used 1:1:0.1 ratio for that. 0.1 in 0.1 means that is the waste floor we used for the attachment. Blending we used for the blending we used waste floor. After that, we pressed it in briquette making equipment under the pressure of 30 kilogram force per centimeter square. These are the results we got from the experiment. The fuel value index is calculated by multiplying calorific value into density and dividing it with ash content and moisture content. While conducting the experiment, we got the results as Bambusa arundinacea charcoal powder plus eucalyptus hybrid leaf litter produced more results, that it has fuel value index of 4.65, and second is Bambusa arundinacea salt, it got second rank. These are the photos of the briquettes we made using Bambusa arundinacea and as well as the leaf litter. Outcomes of the study, that means Bambusa arundinacea charcoal powder plus eucalyptus hybrids showed more fuel value index compared to others. That means if you incorporate the leaf litter with this charcoal powder, there's a chance of high fuel value index. So we can use the leaf litter into a useful thing, that we can convert into wealth, the waste thing into wealth. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Dr. Lakshmikant. After Lakshmikant, Dr. C. Kalidas.
Good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon. Yeah, I think now the action is supplied. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity for me with a different discipline, different crowd here to share my bit of experience that I had with the student community and also with my tenure of my service with Government of Karnataka and to small extent Government of India also. And today's title, though I'm very particular about the phytoremediation. Phytoremediation means everybody, I think all of you know about it, and the time is very limited. And I'll be sharing, what are all the situations that I come across during my tenure, at least for the past 10 years. We are saying here, building climate resilient forestry means what? ನಾವು ಇರುವಂತ ಕಾಡನ್ನ ಕೈ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದೀವ, ಅದನ್ನ ಮುಟ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವ. Are we aiming for the something which is totally barren now and to create a new forestry there? In case if that is true, now Western Ghats and Western Ghats is the only sinking place where we can do all kinds of or commit all kinds of nuisance, and it is taking care of our presence here. Then now ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವಂತ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ when we are aiming for new place to develop our forest system or forest ecology, to change the forest ecology, the single point or the important element which we are missing there is water. It is water. ಎಲ್ಲಿಯಾದ್ರೂ ನಾವು ಬಯಲುಸೀಮೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಕಾಡು ಬೆಳೆಸೋಣ, ಕಾಡು ನೋಡೋಣ, ಮರಗಳು ಬೆಳೆಸೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ನೀರು. ದೆನ್ ಸಾಹೇಬರು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ The Department of Forestry should have the multidisciplinary approach, multidisciplinary, people to take inside. Yes, I do agree with him definitely, because, we have different disciplines, those are working around us. One among them is the industry department. I'll give one example, which is a working example there in Harihar, Davangere, near Davangere. One industry is using 50 MLD of water, 50 million liters of water every day. And it is consuming, taking the water, drying the water from a river, and it is processing its, products, and afterwards 50 ml is getting released into the river. This water, when he is ready to treat the water to the extent that it can be released into the drinking water source, instead, ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದೂರದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಗಳೂರು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ತಾಲೂಕಿದೆ, ಅದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಡ್ರೈ ಇದೆ, ನೀರಿಲ್ಲ, ಬರೀ ಜೋಳ ಬೆಳೀತಾರೆ. Why we can't take the help of these people? Let them pump this water into the dry area where we can, irrigate the places, and also increase the forest cover, increase the water content there, increase the water table there. Yakandre illo ಒಂದು ಹತ್ತಿರದಲ್ಲಿ, just around 20 to 25 kilometers away from this industry, there is one water catchment area wherein we can, if we are able to pump this water there, and it will reach the entire catchment. ಈ ತರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ನೀರಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಮರಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ಬೆಳೆಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗದೆ ಇರುವಂತ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನ ಮೀರಿ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ನಾವು ಗಿಡ ಮರಗಳನ್ನ ಬೆಳೆಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು. ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರೈ ಏರಿಯಾ, you agree with me, it's less than 400 millimeter of rainfall that we are receiving there. ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಶಾಪಗ್ರಸ್ತರ, just because we have changed the ecological system there. ಜಂಬೂದ್ವೀಪೆ, ಭರತವರ್ಷೆ, ಭರತಖಂಡೆ, ದಂಡಕಾರಣ್ಯ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಆ ದಂಡಕಾರಣ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಲಿತ್ತು? ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಆಚೆಗಿದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಈಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ. Then what has happened with these people? We missed the complete ದಂಡಕಾರಣ್ಯ, and now we are worried about the, we are trying to build the climate resilient forest. ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದಿದೆ? So, sir, my appeal to the August community here, those who are looking at the forest, forest system, or those who are intent to have the ecological system which really help us, it is the water which is really required to conserve all these people. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಬಡತನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಶಾಪಗ್ರಸ್ತರಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್, ನೀರಿಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನಾನು ಮಂಗಳೂರಿನಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರೋದು, ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೇನೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಜಾಪುರದವ್ರು ಬಂದು ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬಿಜಾಪುರದವರು ಶಾಪಗ್ರಸ್ತರಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಪುಣ್ಯಾತ್ಮರಲ್ಲ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ನೀರಿಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಗೆ ನೀರಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಊಟ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಊಟ ಇದೆ, ಊಟ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ನೋಡಿ, the zone of influence will definitely encourage into, enter into all these people. ನಾವು ಈಗ ನೀವು ಯಾರು ಸಿರಾದವರಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಹಿರಿಯೂರಿನವರಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗದವರಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಬಳ್ಳಾರಿ, ಹಾವೇರಿ, ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಯವರಾಗ್ಲಿ, if they are suffering because of something, and that is because of lack of water and because of deforestation, what has happened there, ಈ zone of influence will definitely enter into your system. means ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕೋಸ್ಟಲ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೀಗ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಬಹಳ ಹತ್ತಿರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಟೇಕ್ ಕೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ನೀವು ಚಂದ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಈ ಮಾತು ಸಹ ಬಂತು, in the morning session someone is saying that, start your reforestation activities from east to west. ಈ ಜನ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ. Sir, my appeal to you is that, see that the water which is getting used for industrial activities are getting used for this kind of reforestation activities, and it's a huge volume. And the second system is the urban local body. ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುನ್ಸಿಪಾಲಿಟಿಗಳು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಊರು 50 ರಿಂದ 60 MLD ನೀರನ್ನ ಪಂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ನೀರನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಸೀವೇಜ್ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್, ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಟು ಸೇ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕನ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟೇಶನ್ ಇನ್ ನಾಲಾ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಚರಂಡಿ ನೀರು ಹೋಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹಳ್ಳಗಳಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಯೂಶಲಿ ವಿ ಲುಕ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಟ್ರೀಸ್, ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಲ್ಪವೃಕ್ಷ ಇದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ ಮರ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಕಾಡನ್ನೋದು, ಕಾಡಿನ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನನ್ನೋದು ಸುಮಾರು 10 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಾತಿತ್ತು. ದೇ ಸೆಡ್, ನೀರಿಗಾಗಿ ಕಾಡು ಅಂತ ಥೀಮ್ ಒಂದು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ, ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ ನಾವು. ನೀರಿಗಾಗಿ ಕಾಡು ಅಂತ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕುಡಿಯೋ ನೀರು ಬರೋದು ಸಹ. ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ನೀರಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕವರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿನೇ ಹೇಳುದು, ಹಸಿರು ಮರ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಜೀವದ ಜೀವಂತಿಕೆಯ ಸಂಕೇತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಹಸಿರು ಮರ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಜೀವದ ಜೀವಂತಿಕೆಯ ಸಂಕೇತ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು, ಈ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ರಿಫಾರೆಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅರ್ಬನ್ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಸೀವೇಜ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುವಾಗ, ಹಳ್ಳಗಳ ಬದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಎರಡೂ ಬದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಡದಂಡೆ ಬಲದಂಡೆ ಏನಿದೆ, ಆ ಎರಡೂ ಬದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹ ನೀವು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮರಗಳು ಬೆಳೆಸಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸರ್, ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಫೈಟೋ ರೆಮಿಡಿಯೇಷನ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ನಂತರ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ರೆಮಿಡಿಯಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಈ ಹಳ್ಳದ ಬದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಮೂಲಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಮರಗಳನ್ನ ನಾಟಿದ್ರೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಗಾಳಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅಥವಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಧೂಳು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಕ್ರಷರ್ಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ರೆಕಮೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಧೂಳು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಧೂಳುಗಳ ಎಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರ್ತದೆ. ಎಲೆಗಳು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಧೂಳನ್ನ ರಿಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಚೆಂದ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ನೀವು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೈಹಿಕವಾಗಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ತೀರಾ, ಧೂಳು ರಿಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಗಾಳಿಯನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ. ಈ ತರ ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮೆಷರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನ ಗಿಡಗಳು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಅದಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ದಟ್. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎವಾಪೋ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್. ದ ವಾಟರ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ಸ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್. ನೀನು ಬೀದಿಲಿರುವಂತ ಮರಗಳಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಚರಂಡಿ ಬದಿಲಿರುವಂತ ಮರಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀನು ಬಿಸ್ಲೇರಿ ನೀರು ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ ತಾನೆ, ಕೊಚ್ಚೆ ನೀರೇ ತಾನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ evapor transpiration, while taking the water and it releases into the atmosphere the purest form of water. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಮರ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಗಿಡ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆಗಿನೂ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಮರ ನಿಮಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೀವೇಜ್ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಸಹ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೀವೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಟರ್ ನ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನ ಮರಗಿಡಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಫೈಟೋ ರೆಮಿಡಿಯೇಷನ್. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಸೆನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಟಾಲರೇಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್. ಈ ಸಸ್ಯಕಾಶಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ ವಾಯು ಮಾಲಿನ್ಯ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಜಲ ಮಾಲಿನ್ಯ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಟು ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇವನ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, this community, the trees community is getting absorbed all these things. ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮೆನ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೀರನ್ನು ಹೀರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎವಾಪೋ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್. ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ವೀಡ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಹಯಸಿಂತ್. ಅರ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮೇಬಿ ಅರೌಂಡ್ 30 years back we did experiment on that, using of water hyacinth to treat heavy metal effluents which are generated by the industries. ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಹೆವಿ ಮೆಟಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀವಿ, ಅವನು ಹಾಗೆ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತದೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನ when we thought of working with this heavy metal treatment. Yes sir, I'll conclude. These weeds are used. Weeds ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಜನ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಜನಗಳನ್ನ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ weeds ಅನ್ನ we are making use. We made use of these weeds to treat the effluents which are generated, especially the heavy metal carrying effluents. ಈ ಕ್ರೋಮಿಯಂ ಎಫ್ಲುಯೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಟ್ಯಾನ್ರಿ ಎಫ್ಲುಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಾಟರ್, ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಎ ಪಾಂಡ್. ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಈ ಬಂಡೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ತೊಟ್ಟಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಜಾಗದೊಳಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹಾಕಿ ಬೀಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ ದೆನ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ extracting all the heavy metals from there, and afterwards this can be used as a manure in a very fractioned manner, means very small fractioned manner. This vegetation can be utilized. So ಏನು ನಾವು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಒಂದು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಯನ್ನ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಸಸ್ಯಕಾಶಿ. ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್, ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಈ ಮಾತು ಸಹ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್. ನಮ್ಮ ರವಿ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರು ಇರಬೇಕು, ಮಣ್ಣು, ನೀರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಗಾಳಿನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಸತ್ಯವಾದ ಮತ್ತು ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಜ ಕೂಡ, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವಂತದ್ದೇ, ಹೊಸದೇನಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಈ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಏನಿದೆ, whenever we want to survive, if you think that we want to survive here, 3 elements are definitely required. We need nutrition. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಈಗ ತಿಂದ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಪ್ಪಳ ತಿಂದೇವೆ, ಸಂಡಿಗೆ ತಿಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಾಲು ತಿಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಚಿಕನ್. ಎವ್ರಿ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೇರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್. ದ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್. ಮಣ್ಣಿಂದನೇ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ? ಏನು ಹಿಂಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವ? ನೋ, ಓನ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್. ಒಂದೇ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿರೋ ಗಿಡ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೇರು ಬೀಜ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ, ತೆಂಗಿನಕಾಯಿ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ, ಅದೇ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲೇ ತೆಂಗಿನಕಾಯಿ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ, ಅದೇ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಭತ್ತ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ. ಎವ್ರಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಟು ದ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೈ ಓನ್ಲಿ ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಟು ವರ್ಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್, ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪಿಂಗ್ ಅಸ್? ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟರ್. ನೀರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಸಾರಾಂಶನ ನೀವು ಮನುಷ್ಯರು ಏನಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಈ ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೀರು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಬೇಕಾಗೇ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಮಣ್ಣು, ನೀರು, ಮರ ಇವ್ರನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ there is no chance of living here at all. It will become one more Mars planet. I have many things to share with you, and the technology is here. It is already shared with you. Please take it. But phytoremediation and bioremediation. Bioremediation is again organisms which are used to, used to solve the problems which are ಆಯಿಲ್ ಸ್ಪಿಲ್. ಈಗ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಸಹ ವಿಷಯ ಬಂತು. ಕೊಚ್ಚಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹಡಗು ಮುಳುಗಿದೆ, ಆಯಿಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಬೀಚ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಮಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಡಗು ಮುಳುಗಿದೆ, ಅದು ಆಯಿಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೀಚ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಕಾರವಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಡಗು ಮುಳುಗಿತ್ತು, ಬೀಚ್ಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನು ಸ್ಕೂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ? ನೋ, ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್
existing. So when you are thinking about the mangrove areas, generally will call this the crabs, shrimps, every small juveniles are the nursery ground for all the marine organisms is mangrove. Important this leads the important for the mangrove and the mangrove forestation is in turn for existing fisheries the fisheries coast. So shell was shell. Yeah. So generally, earlier center had considered that it is small scale boat, mechanized boat. So from that is the ton of fish, 1 ton of fish, we are making nearly 1.45 tons of carbon dioxide in the ecosystem. So this is the effect of the our scenario. So coming to the blue carbon is an accumulated part. We are telling the mangrove is a major part in the more nutrient to the ground. When I am telling about the mangrove is whether the salinity changes in the sense it will go to nearly 50 ppt also, and also some in the rainy season it goes to 0 ppt also. At that time you can see the reliability of this type of a mangrove. Most of them are the euryalline species. So last I came to know questions from this session, last session. Particularly they are bringing the diversification of the mangrove happening. Only particularly one type of mangrove they are trying to reforest planting in India. So the same thing also, once we are taking the mangrove also having some inoculant in nature. So my study is based on that only. You know, this particularly in Karnataka, this Aginashni and Dali estuary is the major fishery source for our Uttara Karnataka coast fishery source. And you know, the important ecological importance, it provides the diverse species, protects the coastline, erosion, everything it's known. Yeah. So starting from starting from up to West Bengal, there are more than 8,000 kilometers of coastline we have. You can see the every riverine basis will have it will have the estuarine region. Estuary region is built by the mangrove areas. So coming to our study. So already it is estimated, already for the carbon sequestration, particularly blue carbon sequestration, this mangrove is an important area, and we already estimated this carbon source, how it is accumulating from the ground below the source and the ground above the source. So when it is coming to the importance, the national significance, mostly we are mostly moving to the blue carbon source for the mangrove and the mangrove related vegetations. So the background of the study is there. So we know that the blue carbon, it is a carbon fixed by the vegetative coastal ecosystem, serves as a natural solution to the climate change. Yeah, and particularly our studies, it's mostly focused on the east coast, southern east coast. So it is starting from the Tukudin and Tirunelveli and end of the Kanyakumari coast. So it is the natural belt. It is the vast for the carbon potential sinking area, and it attracts the most of the policymakers for increasing the forest area, particularly the mangrove forest area in the full along the entire this Tamrabarani belt. So when you are speaking about Thukudi and near to Tirunelveli and all, it's most of the industrial area. So definitely the industrial investment also it affects our ecosystems. So this is it is the mangrove farm already it is established. That means abandoned aquaculture or the shrimp farms. We are taking for the plant the mangroves. We are seeing the particularly mass we are trying to estimate, and also we are the images also we are trying. Mass had increased during the period, and how much it is accumulated. I am speaking about the each estuary, particularly this Manakudi estuary is an important estuary when it is coming to the Kanyakumari. You can see that the average growth of the mangrove area. That we are trying to improve the abandoned this aquaculture or the abandoned lands. We are trying to encroach. We are trying to area. So this is the nearly 10 years of the bioestimated. You can see these one patches, single patches, and how much level biomass. So this is the result when we are starting from the. This is an experimental point. When we started, it is only for 114.1 meters. When it is 4 years, 5 years assessment, you can see that increase in the biomass. So this way, when increase in the biomass, we can go for of the carbon levels. We can explain in this way. So this use only one plant, particularly this avenue. Taking, but thinking about the flow of the freshwater is so this more in that area, but when it is coming to the Toothukudi area, it is a little more is growing well. If you are trying to, it is not a natural bed or the grown mangrove plants in that area. So you can see the various plants of this plant. So this is another question is that you are planting within the number of plants planted in a particular area, how much you are making. So we are making the biomass of the above ground level, how much it will encroach. So based on that, we are trying to plant saplings are the already grown, because these plants and all they have the small seeds in the near shore area. We can easily collect in the nursery. Because it is due to the intertidal area also, intertidal area only it is mostly, because when it is on low tide area, areas we can go further more heighted, or at heighted means it will have a low level only. Baseline is the baseline, and another thing here, it is an important for the carbon, particularly the this blue carbon sinking. As forest management, we want to go for 6. One, ecological, environmental, sustainable ecosystem, ensure income to fishers, ensure as climate change, and ensure ready. And it's a separate topic, and it's a already threats have been so many functions are the community basement, community development in getting the this is all it's all elevated. Based on this one we are using challenges is there. What is the research limits of carbon and also lack of standards there. Yes, every country is different type of standarding of post. Naturally, these policy gaps are there. Also, when the forest is degraded or uprooting means definitely our resource will be affected. It will directly affect the livelihood of the fishers, those who are in that area. And another strategies are the like an integrated mangrove aquaculture. I will stop. Integrated farming systems. So this already we are well are elevated that community management must and it must and this action to call ports from international part unlock the full potential, and particularly our same also this increasing the mangrove for the that a resilient coastal sustainable and climate resilient future, not only for this one and for the fishery resource of our country also. Thank you.
Carbon
when you are speaking about carbon credit, we want to for analyzing the life cycle, carbon cycle. First we want to see. That means where it is liberating. That is majorly fisheries is from the fuel. That is the input, one input. So how much of the CO2 it is, that means we are converting to the carbon. So how much of grams of carbon a liter of or a fuel or a diesel it can be liberate. That we are accessing that. Yeah. Yes, sir. There are. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir. Generally, I came to your point. Particularly, I got your point. When you are speaking about the blue carbon, we are focusing on the plankton production in the sea. So the sinking of the carbon will be accumulated by the primary producers, that is the plankton, phytoplankton. So based on the assessment, based on the plankton assessment in the particular area, we are able to predict the fishery of the particular area. So in that we are to accumulate. That means how much of carbon accumulated to a particular square kilometer or the plankton production. So based on credit, yeah. Sir, generally for prediction of the fishery, when you are seeing about the plankton production of our Indian scenario, we are making that. We are making the estimate. Yeah. CMFRI only, sir. Yeah, blue color. Okay, this much of, yeah. Sir, already this NICRA project is there, so there is a more collaborative work is there, sir. Yeah, please. Thank you.
All presentations are very informative and very good. So please give them a big round of applause. The second one is, I just want to conclude one statement. What Mr. said, quote, he has taken quote and he has mentioned also, this is the first generation. This is the first generation means we are all here. And the generation really faces ill effect of climate change. And this is the only last generation to rectify it. What does it mean? There is no any next generation if you do not rectify it. That's a very meaningful statement. So we all of us know. What that is known is we know knowledge, a huge knowledge is generated on reasons of climate change, how climate change can be mitigated. Huge knowledge is already generated. Huge strategies, wonderful strategies are already laid out. And implementation is also started. But only thing is, implementation is very, very slow. Rate of implementation is very, very slow. If you do not increase the rate of implementation, and probably this statement is going to be true. So that's why please, all of us together try to, increase the rate of implementation of all these strategies. And lastly, I thank organizers for this opportunity. Thank you one and all.
Katgeri, former Director of Research, UAS Dharwad. And also I would like to thank co-chairman Dr. Adaya, IFS, DCF Sirsi, and also Harsha Banu, IFS, DCF Elapur. I request Sri Vasant Reddy, IFS, to present a momentum to chairman and co-chairman technical session 1. One, Dr. A.G. Koppad and Dr. Also thank all the session 1. Now let us start with the session 2 on the topic forest utilization and agroforestry. Devgiri, Dean Forestry, College of Forestry, Pannambe. Also, I request this program. And I also Praveen Kumar, SFS, DCF, Kali Tiger Reserve to co-chair the rapporteur of this Dr. S. The invited speakers of this technical session to Dr. G.M. Devgiri, Dean Forestry, College of Forestry, Ponampet. Dr. Ramkrishna, Professor and Head Ponampet. Senior Scientist, ICR. Presenters of these sessions are Deputy Rector Dr. Raja, one of Environment, Vilas Jadhav and Pramod Kumar, Agriculture Development and Rural Transformation, Bangalore, Karnataka, Jadegowda sir, Professor, College of Forestry, Ponampet. I request invited speaker to restrict your presentation for 10 minutes, and I also request oral presenters to restrict your time for 5 minutes. Due to the shortage of time, I request all the delegates to restrict to a given time, please.
Thank you very much, Gauri, and thank the organizers for giving an opportunity. Myself, me, Ravi Shankar, our proud alumni at DCF, and the second co-chair is Praveen, the DCF Kali Tiger is proud alumni. DCF Coastal Regulation, DCF CRZ Dharwad. And along with us, actually, we have rapporteurs, Dr. S.S. Inamati, Professor and Head from COF Sirsi, Jagdish, Associate Professor from COF Sirsi. As I'm told by the organizers that time lag half an hour. So in order to make up that, our times have been squeezed. So initially, the lead talks were 20, but now it's 10 plus an extended time minutes. And for the oral presenters, it is 5 minutes plus 1. I think the lead as well as the oral presenters to, limit to may all follow the guidance given by the organizers. Without wasting much time, let me start with my lead talk on ecosystem services valuation and CBFM for enhancing ecosystem services. Though it is very difficult, I think my time starts now. Know that the sense time. I will briefly talk. Next slide, which outline my lecture, what are the and then the classification, drivers, situation, studies to Karnataka. Next slide. When you take away, we have the many plants among them actually planet biosphere, and another planet have this biospheres like planet Earth. And this but there are many landscapes, and these landscapes are composed by the communities, individual populations. But when you talk about it, looks simple, like it's very complex, and it the flow of energy and interaction between bio and abiotic. And these are held by very fragile, the kind of a links between each of these components. But they are also stable at the same time, and they will bear some level of thresholds. But if it goes beyond those levels of thresholds, this whole cycle gets, disturbed. And what that comes out of the ecosystem, or what we call as an ecosystem service, is actually geopolitical. So that's how we are now where there is a lot of, the disturbance to this ecosystem linkages. As a result, we are facing divergence. So it has structural, functional, dynamic, and high level of organizations and interrelated and ecosystem services. System services for the first time was coined by a scientist. I mean, starting to him, actually, it is the benefits provided to the human beings through transformation of the flow of goods and services. So that means ecosystem basically it provides the diverse goods and services through the flow of resources, and ultimately it is for, that's where we are mistaken. It is not only the human well-being, but it's all the overall well-being of the different elements of the system. I think some may be knowing this, but I quickly grow through provisioning, cultural, supporting, and regulating services. I'm not going to read on all this. You all already PhD students know these different kinds of. Next slide, please. These actually on the service what it is providing. For example, if you look at the width of the bar, and provisioning services has the and so on, the social security, the basic material for life, and similarly the regulating services. About the cultural, it has got the width of the bar is little narrow. There it has an impact on the health and the good social relationships. So these linkages are again connected to the type of a ecosystem provides. When you have got these broader categories of services, that's how you can locate in landscapes. Say, starting from your water regulations, formation, fertility, and the habitat for the different diverse, the carbon sequestration, pollination, pest and disease control, so on and so forth. Next. And I am not going to, talk about all these different services, but now pertinent or relevant to this particular, the symposium, so that is on actually the climate change and the resilient the ecosystems. So I will, as said by Dr. Sharad of Coimbatore University, numbers, because that numbers sense, and it gives us to know what is the importance of these services. See, for example, tropical forest, say it captures 5 tons out of the 2,000 tons of carbon capture on this planet Earth. So among them, there are blue carbons, as said by one of the scientists, and there are the other aquatic ocean system. All put together, it is 2,500 gigatons. Actually, the contributing nearly 25 to 30% of that. And again, in the different forests, temperate and tropical or boreal and different forest types, important, significant. That's how we call them as the majors of our. So here, tropical forests capture up to 4.8 gigatons of CO2 annually. The 2009 Lewis and White, this was for the first time it was published in Nature. It was 32 gigatons, the total emission at that time. But what is very interesting is you just look at the current capture is for the recent report, right? From 4.8, we have increased only 0.4 gigatons or 0.64 gigatons, whereas the emissions are nearly around 18 tons emissions. So there is an imbalance. When we talk about, the emission, there is a huge gap. So that's what now such of the conferences or the seminars is to how bridge those gaps, what are the actions. And morning presentation sessions where I think they have addressed and they are going to address some of this. And the one simple solution is actually halving the emission generates the net benefits of 3.2 trillion US dollars. That's what Mr. Ravi PCC have said in the morning. One of the immediate action is, let the natural they are, conserve them, protect them. That means maintaining itself will solve or address this climate change in the next phase. And of course, also this forest and the terrestrial ecosystem, the water pump. And our Western Ghats is the Congo Basin and the Amazon. But for these, areas, there is no any such scientific studies that have been carried out. But nevertheless, one of the important papers published in 2004, Journal of Climate Change, the evapotranspiration puts 20 billion tons of water into the atmosphere. The American, they put 20 billion tons of water into the atmosphere, and that enters into the hydrological cycle. See, what is very interesting is they are not carbon sinks, but they also contribute a lot in the hydrological cycle. Next, please. And the increases per se contribution to the GDP. It's very interesting when you take the developed and the GDP is it is actually very, very high in Southeast Asian countries where there is a more dependency of the people on forest and the forest resources. For that matter, Indonesia, 21 GDP from ecosystem service. This was also very important report, the TEEB report of 2008. It has been revised actually, and also you see that on these ecosystems, 79 in Indonesia, 352 million people in India, and 20 million people in Brazil. But from single tree, we have a complex, the ecosystems, forest, and the agriculture ecosystem, biodiversity, and the vertical garden. That ecosystem services and the quantum and the nature and the type that depends on the scale and geographies. They are not uniform across the region. Next, please. And the issues, I am not going to stress much on this. There are undervalued these ecosystem services. See why the platinum, the cost is more. Why is jumping like anything? Because it has been valued. It is like a metal. So once you value that, you will know the worth of that platinum or the or the gold. Okay. So and the other important is actually lack of awareness on these ecosystem services. That's what we have to create, the ecosystem services. I think I have to go very fast. As said by Ravi, the extractive use of goods, increased degradation. Of course, leave all this. Yes, everybody knows. And this is, I think, quickly we go through. And there are, some the services which are, most of the services, they are in a declining stage. Next, please. They're all, you see, all down arrow. Next. And how serious is the problem globally? It is very serious. But there are three regions that what you see red is loss of biodiversity, okay, the climate change, and the nutrient, the disturbance in the biogeochemical cycles or the nutrient cycling. These are three serious problems among all other problems. So I'll just quickly go through. The levels of biodiversity in 2000, the mean species, the abundance is, this is actually 2000 status. You just go next slide. And it is, we are losing, there is a mean species abundance loss from 7, it varies 61 to 72%. That means there is a huge loss of biodiversity. The natural areas declined by 7.5 million square kilometers globally. So this, the biodiversity has got linkages with the ecosystem services or the climate change. Next, please. And this loss of, there is an imbalance. Tipping points. I think I would have given some more time, but I'm very unfortunate. Yeah, it's okay. Nevertheless, looking at the graphs itself, you can get emission and the sequestration is less. So, and it is simple that. Okay, next. And yes, there is, the negative externalities of top just 3,000 companies estimated at 2.5 trillion. Like if you calculate it, it is a huge cost of negative, the externalities that we are causing on our environment. Next, please. Yeah, quick. Okay. Yeah, here, this is actually the, the water resource degradation. See, out of the total water resource, 2.5% is the fresh water. Out of that 2.5%, it is, yes, 0.3 is accessible to the humanity. Okay, you just see where we are. Next, please. And why valuation is told, it is very, very essential. The economic value of anything or any item or ಯಾವುದೇ ವಸ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬೆಲೆ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ. As long as if you say 1 kg of oxygen 2,000 ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅವಾಗ. 1 kilogram of oxygen 2,000 rupees. ಗಿಡ ಬೆಳಿರಿ, ಗಿಡ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಬರಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. We have to, price that oxygen. So that is the purpose of this. And of course, use values and non-use values, direct and indirect, there are different methods of valuations. Next please. Of course, there are now already the methods have come. Direct methods like stumpage value. It's a direct valuation resource. Like indirect methods, hedonic price, travel cost method. We can evaluate these. What I mean to say, first is estimation of these services, quantification of these services, and the valuation. Next, please. And there are, actually the current industrial GDP is, 8 trillion US dollars. But the ecosystem is a very classical paper in nature. It varies from 61 trillion US dollars. See how many times more. What this is, if you value them, it is much 10 times higher. Next. So for India, also there has been a valuation. This was one of the very important by Minister of Forest, Ecology and Climate Change. Say it is a green accounting for Indian states and union territory. It is the GASP report 2005. So it is being revisited. And there are lots of valuations that have been done, and how much is the contribution of these ecosystem services to the national GDP is also talked about there. Next, please. And these are economic valuation of some of the national parks, recreation. These are also very interesting studies. So likewise for the national parks, the valuation has been done. Just a minute. One actually, for example, the recreation value of the national park, 1 hectare, 16,197 in actually Bharatpur, the national park. Likewise, for different national parks, there is a paper, they have estimated this. The valuation has been done. Next, please. A case study of Kodagu. Yeah, this is 1977. We have seen the dynamics. Next, see how is the landscape is being transformed. Next, please. And we have done actually directly you go to the carbon. Next. Yeah. This is, we have estimated the total carbon content of our different land use types. Next, please. And we have done a valuation. Next. This is the carbon map. Yeah, here, go back. here, so it is actually the total geographical area of Coorg is 4,102 square kilometers. That is around 10,000 hectares. And of that, it is 81% is wooded. So that means it comes to 3.3 lakh hectares. So if you take a 90 tons of, the carbon stock average per hectare, so it comes to be 72,000 rupees per hectare of, the carbon dioxide or the sea sequestration. So that is the valuation we have done. And I think based on that, next, of course, there are a lot of initiatives for PS. Himachal is the first, under Kampa, there are also next place. Of course, it is emphasized in different reports and also in the policy as well, next place. And these are some of the possible mechanisms: eco-certification, geographic indication, forest certification, okay? Then ecotourism and involvement of corporate under this one, next place. And these are some of the options that what I thought about: best management practices, okay? And then forestation and reforestation under in BFC areas and sacred groves, and red and red plus could be the options for the sustainable management of Kodagu landscape. Thank you very much. I think with all that, I took few minutes more. Of course, challenges are there. Next. Thank you. Any questions? Quick, 1 or 2 questions I can take, especially from students. Yes, sir. Sujit Dongre sir.
Hello. No, I think it's wonderful actually. What you said about the complexity. The ecosystems are very, very complex, and evaluating them in terms of money is again very, very difficult. It's just a notional value.
Yeah.
But what money that you see in terms of for services is undervalued actually. It's a gross undervaluation of ecosystem services. Let me not talk about that, because ecosystem service value are always calculated what you get, aesthetic values, groceries and all these things. But I think it is beyond that. We have to calculate a value in terms of its non-living entities. For example, itself is a huge storehouse of carbon dioxide.
Yes.
And the land degradation that is happening, possibly the second or biggest contributor of carbon dioxide into atmosphere. So land degradation is huge, is a major problem in the country in terms of climate change aggravation. While we look at this ecosystem service value, how do you actually take this, carbon storage, not in terms of with respect to biomass, but carbon that is stored underneath in the soil?
Yeah, as you said, when we talk about the valuation, maybe you can list a few, maybe in terms of 2 digits, some value, services for which you could be able, or it is possible to do that. But there are, as you said, other services like, the soil microflora and its contribution to the nutrient dynamics. For example, pollinators services, okay, and its contribution to productivity. It is not that we have devised mechanisms or tools for valuation of this. Say what I am talking about is some major, the services for which it is possible. But another point what you said is even the carbon stored actually, in the soil. So for which it is very, very difficult to, but of course we can estimate that. We have done, the soil organic carbon estimation at different depths. You can quantify and also evaluate these stored carbons. But ultimately, when you talk about the whole ecosystem size process and the services what we derive, it is not possible. Yeah.
I think another thing is also very interesting, just for forest officers here.
Yeah.
We did actually, I was on part of a coastal zone management authority, and we calculated something called coastal damage recovery formula based on meta system services that we get it from the coastal ecosystems. What we are now doing, using that particular formula, whoever damages the ecosystem on the coastal area, under the CRZ notification of 2011, those people are fined money in order to restore land. If you damage 1 hectare, 2.3 CR is the calculation that you have to pay for it. Now we already have a TB report. We already calculated our forest, ecosystem service value, and we also use this formula. If somebody damages your forest, use this formula and charge them. Can we also do, because this also is not just about we understanding how much we generate in terms of money, but it can also become like a detrimental for people who are actually going to damage the forest resources.
No, as you rightly said, that unless otherwise you cannot estimate what is the amount, the damage and what is it's in economic terms, nobody's eye will open. See, why all these valuations? See, thousands of years back, these, the planet Earth is providing all this. But now why we have started, talking about these ecosystem services and their valuation is because, it is fast depleting. The anthropogenic, the pressure on these services is much, much higher. Unless otherwise we think of a sustainability, so it is very difficult. But you just keep on talking about the sustainability, who cares? See, when now the eyes are opening. See, suppose if you take the stumpage value of forest itself, now the forest officers, see, our forest has a stumpage value of this. Our forest has got, this much of timber, and the worth of that is, so proportionately, they can, seek the government's funding or this one for the conservation and development is the basic idea here. So that's how it is still now 10 years back, nobody talked about these ecosystem services. Of course, we started talking about ecosystem services, but nobody thought of valuation. So now slowly, when it comes and given a monetary weightage for that, definitely I think things are going to be changed. So, and other thing is, what you said is upstream and downstream, and the degradation, for example, if you take, for which now the payment for ecosystem services, that, the mechanisms are coming. So slowly we are pushing it, we have developed a policy document. Let's see, we all hope for the better, and again it goes back to our morning's Vasant Reddy's quote. Okay? Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker is
So good evening to one and all. With the permission of the chair, I would like to start my presentation. The topic of my presentation is climate change and how it is seen in manifestation of wood. As you are aware, next slide please. As you are aware that the oceanic pressure or the anthropogenic carbon from 1970 till date, 70 around 50 parts per million. Now it is around 400 parts per million. So it has almost doubled, we can say. So because of this greenhouse, then it has led to increased temperature, and that has led to more frequent weather events. And as a result of this, what is happening is the increased tree mortality, especially in the forest. Morning, some of the presentations there. Then diversity, the reduction in the biodiversity, that is our impact. Then changes in the productivity of, that is very, very important. And the last one is how it is impacting the wood canopy. So my concern mainly on the next slide, please. As you are, just to give brief background about wood anatomy, because it's a different thing, because basically I am, always, I used to tell that I am a tree grower. So I should also know when I grow tree, how it is going to be affected, and before that, we should have little bit of anatomy also. Normally, when there is climate change, the first and foremost thing, the thing is that it is going to affect the physiology of the tree. And this physiology of the tree is going to impact the xylem structure. Usually, many of the environmental stresses, they are reflected in the form of wood anatomy. And the xylem tissue is one of the important tissue which is responsible for conduct of water in trees. That is, it is going to be, if it is going to be affected, it is going to affect the entire tree growth. So, and that can be seen, the variation in xylem growth and all those things that can be seen in the form of tree ring, modifications or tree ring altercations. So next slide, please. So in a tree, when the tree, grows, it will be having two distinct types of growth. One is primary growth and the secondary growth. And the difference in the growth is governed by both intrinsic factor of the tree as well as extrinsic factor. And these primary growth and secondary growth are being affected mainly by the external factors like, drought, stress, and various other issues. And this is very, very, important from the point of tree growth measurement and tree growth monitoring. Next slide, please. So, how this climate change is going to influence the xylogenesis. Xylogenesis means wood formation. So this is seen mainly in three issues mainly. That is, one is in the form of moisture stress and the flooding, as you are aware, and the third one is elevated CO2. So next slide, please. So when we say water stress, so we can find two types of trees. One is isohydric trees and another group is anisohydric trees. This morning when there was a research fellow from NCPS when he was presenting, so there were a lot of discussion on ecophysiology. So here I would like to tell that when the trees are subjected to extreme weather conditions, so whether it is drought or high temperature, they will try to have some, cellular level adjustments and through their plastic response. Beyond that, when they go further, there will be some cellular impairment, and that will lead to carbon starvation, which is because of reduced, photosynthesis and increased respiration and all those things. Another group of trees, that is, we can say anisohydric trees, they will try to maintain their photosynthesis without changing, and as a result, there will be root system impairment, and so there will be embolism because of the because of the drought. There will not be any continuous uptake of water, and as a result, there will be gap, and that ruptures the xylem system, and as a result, that embolism, and there will be hydraulic failure, and that might result in the death or the affected growth of trees. Next slide, please. So normally this drought leads to reduced stomatal opening, and this is a common physiological phenomenon. Then lowering carbon uptake. Then again the meristematic activities will be reduced. Hydraulic failure will take place. Then there will be impact in cambial cells. That is very, very important because, and their derivatives, because that is going to affect the lateral growth of the trees also to a greater extent. Then ultimately this drought limits the photosynthesis, reducing the wood production. Next slide, please. So in this background, we started our work, how this moisture stress is going to affect the wood quality. So in this regard, we laid out a trial where, so we have the Casuarina zunguniana family, clone, then selection, and all those things. Please click. Okay, and we found that when the same clone or same genotype is planted in two different environments, how they are responding. So moisture stress, led to increased root density, then fiber wall thickness, and decreased vessel strength index. This is very, very important in Casuarina jinguniana. So these changes reflect adaptive and anatomical, responses to dry conditions. Next slide, please. See, this is the situation where when there is no irrigation, where there is water stress, the wood density is high compared to the place where there is irrigation. So this is the same genotype when they are deployed in two different situations, how the wood is going to be affected. Next slide, please. So increased root density in water stress. Next slide, please. So similarly, fiber wall thickness, in the same situation. So in the dry site, the fiber wall thickness is high compared to the moist site or where there is no moisture stress. So here it tells that fiber biometry response was higher in dry site compared to the, which led to the higher wood density. Next slide, please. So similarly, vessel strength index, as you are aware, the xylem vessel is responsible for uptake of water in the trees or in the plants, and the vessel strength, that is very interesting, that it is significantly, higher at irrigated condition, and possibly which is an adaptive mechanism to overcome when they get the adequate water, the vessel strength will be more, and as a result, the tree growth will be good. Next slide, please. So similarly, in case of Lucena leucocephala, so when the same genotypes were deployed in two different situations, see the fiber double wall thickness and fiber lumen width. So when that measurement was taken, so the graphical presentation tells that the fibers are thin-walled and narrow lumen under wet condition, whereas when the same genotype is placed in water stress condition, the fibers are thick-walled. Similarly, in the case of Lucena, the behavior is slightly different. So whereas the fibers are more flexible in wet site condition and extremely flexible in dry conditions. So what we can say from this is sometimes it is also species specific character. Next slide, please. So similarly, this is the work of my PhD student. Vessel parameters of Acacia auriculaformis under different situations. We studied in high rainfall zone, low rainfall zone, and medium rainfall zone, and this is the very interesting. Here the important factor is to be remembered is vessel frequency in high rainfall zone is around 6.52, whereas in the same one in the low rainfall zone, it is 7.55 per millimeter square. So number of vessels, so it is increasing. Next slide, please. Similarly, the proportion of various vessel diameter classes. So if you see that in low rainfall zone, the vessels of lower length are higher, whereas in high rainfall zone, the vessel of higher length are more. Next slide, please. So similarly, for the eucalyptus, same trend is obtained. Next slide, please. So this is the proportion of different vessel length under different rainfall zones. Next slide, please. So this is how this wood density and the basic wood basic density as well as fiber traits are differing with various situations in eucalyptus as well as in Acacia auriculaformis. Next slide, please. So coming to the wood anatomical response to the elevated carbon dioxide. So normally, so definitely higher supply of carbon dioxide up to a certain level that enhances the photosynthesis. But it's very interesting thing is that the increased photosynthesis, it doesn't mean that it is going to be highly beneficial to the tree. Sometimes the photosynthetes that will be allocated to the xylem tissues, and that is going to create problem. So that is also going to affect the growth. Next slide, please. So physiological stress from when the trees are subjected to flooding, they are undergoing physiological stress, and that is going to affect the wood quality also. You can see from the pictorial presentation when the same tree species is subjected to flooding as well as non-flooding area, and how the wood structure is affected. Next slide, please. So to conclude, climate change manifests wood characters such as basic density, fiber biometry, as well as vessel properties. Then wood anatomical traits are valuable proxies for forest climate change monitoring, and adaptive forest management strategies need to be developed to address the issues of climate change. Thank you. If you have anything to be clarified, please.
One or two quick questions.
Sir, I have one clarification. So you mentioned that elevated CO2 will affect the quality of food. Do you have any supporting case studies for this?
Pardon?
Elevated CO2 will affect the quality of food. One of your slides says that. Do you have any supporting case studies or?
Actually, it is based on the published literature only. So that has accumulated. See, when the carbon dioxide, see, everything is, when it is in at optimum level, it is good. But if the carbon dioxide enrichment, if it goes beyond 720 ppm, it is going to affect the wood production, because the photosynthetes which are produced, as per that carbon dioxide concentration, so it is not allocated properly. So which is going to affect the wood quality.
Yes, sir, fine. But up to certain level of elevated CO2 will affect, improve the quality of food.
Yeah, it is up to certain level.
Up to certain level.
Yeah.
Elevated CO2 will help.
Yeah, definitely, but not beyond certain level.
Okay,
because,
that's fine.
yeah.
Sir. But that statement is the elevated CO2 will affect. So you just can you go to that slide?
Yeah, okay. No, not that. Next.
No, I think what Dr. Ramesh is, see, certain point, certain
Beyond the
level
threshold
of
level.
Yeah. Beyond that, it is going to definitely impair or impact the.
Definitely. Even
but it is not that. Now it is 425 ppm. Okay. So or 525 ppm. So at that level, it may not, impact on the wood properties or the tree, the physiology.
The second sentence, if you read through that, extra carbohydrates may change wood structure, affecting xylem permeability and water flow.
I believe I don't have much stuff for this. Lot of
this is taken from a published paper. The sentence, it is not made from me. It is taken from a published paper. And we are going to present maybe
thank
the
you, sir,
data, because that has to be yet to be published.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any last one question? Yeah, there is. Yeah, Ramesh. Okay, Dr. Ramesh. Yeah, then I'll mic ಕೊಡ್ರಪ್ಪ. Nitin, mic transfer ಮಾಡ್ರಿ.
This vessel density, it is a vessel diameter. Vessel diameter, sir.
Yeah.
Because it is related to the hydraulic conductivity of the
Yes.
system.
Yeah.
What I read and in my studies, we found that it is that vessel hydraulic conductivity or vessel diameter size is highly conservative in the trees, and it is also expressed by trees. And when we are comparing one environment with another environment, that height of the tree also we have to take into consideration.
Yeah, definitely we have taken. To address that, see, it is the same genome which is deployed in different places. And actually, in fact, I did not present that because of the paucity of time. If you see the frequency, because the larger the vessel size in the is adequate moisture. The vessel frequency will be more, but the size of the less when there is stress. This is the mechanism, adaptive mechanism, which is developed by the trees in order to overcome this, the hydraulic failure. In order to overcome that, develop that.
Debate is going on this. It is due to height growth or due to environment.
Yes. Whether it is really contributing for this or it is the height growth, that is okay. Again, another area. Sir, you have complete your.
No, you are suggesting that the fact that these trees adapting to the change in environment by changing their technology. Does this change? No, does this change is one? It's going
Till its life cycle. See, so in the process of evolution, but this adaptation mechanism, once the tree has adapted, means it will be permanent in that particular tree.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll break for tea because I heard a long, talk on the sessions, and the time given is 10 minutes.
Thank you.
And the next speaker is Dr. Ramesh, also very interesting solutions. Let us not.
ಪಶ್ಚಿಮ ಘಟ್ಟ. ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ಸೊಬಗು ಸೌಂದರ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಚಿರಪರಿಚಿತ. ಈ ದಟ್ಟವಾದ ಅರಣ್ಯಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯ ಅವಿತು ಕುಳಿತಿರುವ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಕಾಡುಗಳೆಂದರೆ ಅವು ರಾಮಪತ್ರೆ ಜಡ್ಡಿ ಕಾಡುಗಳು. ಇವು ನಿತ್ಯ ಹರಿದ್ವರ್ಣ ಕಾಡುಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯ ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತವೆ. ಈ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸದಾ ಕಾಲ ನೀರು ಇರುವುದರಿಂದ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳೆಂದು ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಯಲಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಮಿರಿಸ್ಟಿಕಾಸಿ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಸಸ್ಯ ಪ್ರಭೇದಗಳಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರುವುದರಿಂದ ಮಿರಿಸ್ಟಿಕಾ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಂಪ್ಸ್ ಎಂದು ಕರೆಯುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಕಾಡುಗಳು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪುರಾತನ ಕಾಡುಗಳಾಗಿದ್ದು ಇವುಗಳು ಗೊಂಡ್ವಾನ ಕಾಲದಿಂದ ಈ ಭೂಮಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರುವ ಆಧಾರಗಳಿವೆ. ಈ ಕಾಡುಗಳು ಪಶ್ಚಿಮ ಘಟ್ಟಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತವೆ. ಪಶ್ಚಿಮ ಘಟ್ಟದ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಗೋವಾ, ಕೇರಳ ಹಾಗೂ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತವೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಉತ್ತರ ಕನ್ನಡ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 110 ರಾಮಪತ್ರೆ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಗುರುತಿಸಲಾಗಿದ್ದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಉತ್ತರ ಕನ್ನಡ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಜಾನ್ಮನೆ, ಕ್ಯಾದಗಿ, ಹುಲೇಕಲ್, ರಾಮನಗುಳಿ, ಗೇರುಸೊಪ್ಪ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಿದ್ದಾಪುರ ವಲಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತವೆ. ಅವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿಸುಮಾರು 90ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಿರಿಸ್ಟಿಕಾ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಂಪ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳು ಶಿರಸಿ ವಿಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತವೆ. ಕತ್ತಲೆಕಾನ್, ಮಲೆಮನೆ, ಜಡ್ಡಿಕೊಡ್ಲು, ದೇವಿಕಾನು, ದೇವಿಮನೆ, ಅತ್ತಿಗೇರಿ ಜಡ್ಡಿ, ಹುಕ್ಲಿ, ಖರ್ಸೆಕಾನು, ಸಂಪಾನೆ, ಮಾಸ್ತಿಗುಳಿ ಇವು ಕೆಲ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗಳಾಗಿವೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ಜೀವ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಶ್ರೀಮಂತವಾಗಿದ್ದು ಪರಿಸರದ ಸಮತೋಲನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಪಾತ್ರವನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತವೆ. ನೀರು, ಜೀವ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆ, ಔಷಧೀಯ ಸಸ್ಯಗಳು ಆಮ್ಲಜನಕವನ್ನು ನೀಡುವುದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾದ ಇಂಗಾಲದ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಮತ್ತು ನೆರೆ ಹಾವಳಿಗಳಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ರಕ್ಷಿಸುತ್ತದೆ. ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಳೆ ಬೀಳುವ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡುಬರುವ ಈ ಕಾಡುಗಳು ಮಳೆಗಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುರಿಯುವ ನೀರನ್ನು ಸ್ಪಂಜಿನಂತೆ ಹೀರಿಕೊಂಡು ಮಳೆ ನಿಂತ ಮೇಲೂ ಸಹ ನಿಧಾನವಾಗಿ ನೀರನ್ನು ಹರಿಸುತ್ತವೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ವರ್ಷವಿಡೀ ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ತೇವವಾಗಿರುತ್ತವೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ಸದಾ ಶುದ್ಧ ನೀರಿನಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿದ ಜೌಗು ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಾಗಿವೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತಲಿನ ನದಿಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀರಿನ ಮೂಲಗಳಾಗಿವೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ಅನೇಕ ಜಾತಿಯ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಹಾಗೂ ಅಳಿವಿನ ಅಂಚಿನಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಸಸ್ಯ, ಪ್ರಾಣಿ, ಸರೀಸೃಪ, ಉಭಯವಾಸಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಕ್ರಿಮಿಕೀಟ ಮತ್ತು ಚಿಟ್ಟೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಶ್ರಯ ತಾಣವಾಗಿದೆ. ಅಳಿವಿನ ಅಂಚಿನಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಅನೇಕ ಸಸ್ಯ ಹಾಗೂ ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ಪ್ರಭೇದಗಳು ಕಾಣಸಿಗುವುದು ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ವಿಶೇಷತೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ಅಲ್ಪಾವರಣದ ವಾಯುಗುಣವನ್ನು ಅಂದರೆ ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಕ್ಲೈಮೇಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿವೆ. ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿನ ಹವಾಮಾನ ಮತ್ತು ವಾತಾವರಣ ಇತರೆ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಿಗಿಂತ ಭಿನ್ನವಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ಸದಾ ನೀರನ್ನು ಹಾಗೂ ತಮ್ಮದೇ ಆದ ವಾಯುಗುಣವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರುವುದರಿಂದ ಬೇಸಿಗೆಯ ಧಗೆಯನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತಲಿನ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತವೆ. ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಅರಣ್ಯಗಳ ವಿಶೇಷತೆಯನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ನೈಸರ್ಗಿಕ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಅರಿತ ಮೇಲೆ ರಾಜ್ಯಾದ್ಯಂತ ಗುರುತಿಸುವ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಕೈಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು, ಸಕಲೇಶಪುರ, ಕೊಪ್ಪ, ಹೊಸನಗರ ಹಾಗೂ ಕುದುರೆಮುಖ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಗುರುತಿಸಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಸಿಗುವ ಮರಗಳ ಬೇರುಗಳು ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ವಿನ್ಯಾಸ ಹೊಂದಿವೆ. ಈ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳು ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಸದಾಕಾಲ ನೀರಿನಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರುವ ಕಾರಣ ಮರದ ಬೇರುಗಳು ಉಸಿರಾಡಲು ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸ್ಥಳಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಗುಣವಾಗಿ ಹೊಂದಿಕೊಂಡು ಬೇರುಗಳನ್ನು ನೆಲದ ಮೇಲೆ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ 1 ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾಚಿದ್ದು ಅವುಗಳನ್ನು ನೀ ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಎಂದು ಕರೆಯಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತವೆ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಜಿಮ್ನಾಕ್ರ್ಯಾಂಥೆರಾ ಕ್ಯಾನಾರಿಕಾ. ಮಳೆಗಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ರಭಸದಿಂದ ನೀರು ಹರಿಯುವ ಕಾರಣ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಮರಗಳು ಬಿಗಿಯಾಗಿ ದೃಢವಾಗಿ ನಿಂತುಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ಭೂಮಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದಂತಹ ಬೇರುಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದ್ದು ಆ ಬೇರುಗಳು ಈ ಮರವನ್ನು ಬಿಗಿಯಾಗಿ ಹಿಡಿದಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ಸಹಕಾರ ನೀಡುತ್ತವೆ. ಈ ಬೇರುಗಳನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ಟ್ ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಎಂದು ಕರೆಯಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತವೆ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಮಿರಿಸ್ಟಿಕಾ ಫಟುವಾ. ಅರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳನ್ನು ವೈಜ್ಞಾನಿಕವಾಗಿ ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿ ಹಲವಾರು ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆ ಹೊಂದಿರುವ ಸಸ್ಯ, ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ಹಾಗೂ ವನ್ಯಜೀವಿ ಪ್ರಭೇದಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರುವುದು ಹಲವಾರು ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಮೂದಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಸದಾಕಾಲ ನೀರು ಹರಿಯುವ ಜೌಗು ಸ್ಥಳಗಳನ್ನು ಕೋರ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಎಂದು ನಮೂದಿಸಿದ್ದು ಅವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಸ್ಥಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊಂದಿಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಂಡಮಿಕ್ ಅಳಿವಿನಂಚಿನಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಸಸ್ಯ ಪ್ರಭೇದಗಳಾದ ಜಿಮ್ನಾಕ್ರ್ಯಾಂಥೆರಾ ಕ್ಯಾನಾರಿಕಾ, ಮ್ಯಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸಿಯಾ ಎರೋಬೋರಿಯಾ, ಸೆಮಿಕಾರ್ಪಸ್ ಕತ್ಲೆಕಾನಸಿಸ್, ಸೈಸೀಸಿಯಂ ಗ್ರಾವನ್ಕೋರಿಯಂ, ನೀಮಾ ಅಟೆನ್ಯುಯೇಟ್ ಪ್ರಭೇದಗಳು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತವೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದರ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತಲಿನ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹ ಪ್ರಭೇದಗಳಾಗಿ ಹೋಲಿಗರ್ನ ಫೆರ್ರುಗಿನಿಯಾ, ಲೋಫೋಪೆಟಾಲು ವೈಟಿಯಾನು ನೋಥೋಪೇಸಿಯಾ ರೆಸ್ಮೋಸಾ, ಆಕ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ರಾ ರೀಡಿ, ಪಿನಾಗಾ ಡಿಕ್ಸೋನಿ, ಅರೆಂಗಾ ವೈಟಿ, ಕ್ಯಾರಿಯೋಟಾ ಯುರನ್ಸ್, ಸರಕ ಅಶೋಕ ಪ್ರಭೇದಗಳು ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತವೆ. ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಗಳ ಪ್ರಕಾರ 27 ಜಾತಿಯ ಸಸ್ತನಿಗಳು, 129 ಜಾತಿಯ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳು, 51 ಜಾತಿಯ ಸರೀಸೃಪಗಳು, 56 ಜಾತಿಯ ಉಭಯವಾಸಿಗಳು ಹಾಗೂ 14 ಜಾತಿಯ ಮೀನುಗಳು, 281 ಜಾತಿಯ ಕೀಟಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಇತರೆ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಜೀವಿಗಳ ಕುರಿತಾಗಿ ಹಲವಾರು ವರದಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಮೂದಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ನಿಸರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶೇಷತೆ ಏನೆಂದರೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ಒಂದು ಜೀವಿಗಳು ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಹೊಂದಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾದ ಪರಸ್ಪರ ಸಂಬಂಧವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರುತ್ತವೆ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಮಲಬಾರ್ ಪೈಡ್ ಹಾರ್ನ್ಬಿಲ್ ಜಾತಿಯ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳು, ಫಿಲೋನ್ಯೂರಾ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಮನಿ ಜಾತಿಯ ಕೀಟಗಳು, ಲಯನ್ ಟೈಲ್ ಮಕಾಕ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸಿಂಗಳಿಕ ರೀತಿಯ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು ಈ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿದ್ದು ಅವುಗಳು ಆವಾಸ ಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಮಪತ್ರೆ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ಬಹು ಮುಖ್ಯ ಪಾತ್ರವನ್ನು ವಹಿಸುತ್ತವೆ. ಈ ಮರಗಳ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯನ್ನು ಕಾಪಾಡುವ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಇಲಾಖೆ, ಅರಣ್ಯ ಮಹಾವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಕಾಲೇಜು ಶಿರಸಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕೆಲವು ಸರ್ಕಾರೇತರ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಹಲವಾರು ಆಯಾಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಯನ್ನು ಕೈಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಅಲ್ಲಿನ ಸಸ್ಯಗಳು, ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು ಹಾಗೂ ವನ್ಯ ಜೀವಿಗಳ ಕುರಿತಾಗಿ ಇನ್ವೆಂಟರಿ ಮಾಡಿದ ವರದಿಗಳ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವುಗಳ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಪುನಶ್ಚೇತನಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕೈಗೊಳ್ಳಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಒಳಗೊಂಡಂತೆ ಶರಾವತಿ ವ್ಯಾಲಿ LTM ಸ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಚುಯರಿ ಎಂದು 1972ರ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ನ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಘೋಷಣೆಯಾಗಿದೆ. ಸಿಂಗಳಿಕಗಳು ಈ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡುಬರುವ ಬಹುಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್ಶಿಪ್ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಯಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಇಂತಹ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಸಿಂಗಳೀಕಗಳನ್ನು ಸಂರಕ್ಷಿಸಲು ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ರಾಮಪತ್ರೆ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಸಂರಕ್ಷಿಸುವುದು ಬಹುಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿದೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ಹಾಗೂ ಇವುಗಳನ್ನು ಸಂರಕ್ಷಿಸಲು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಅನೇಕ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಗಳು ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಿವೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳ ಮೇಲಿನ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಅವಲಂಬನೆ ಹೊಸದೇನಲ್ಲ. ತಲೆತಲಾಂತರಗಳಿಂದ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಹಾಗೂ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದು ವ್ಯವಸಾಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಮರಮಟ್ಟುಗಳ ಸಂಗ್ರಹಣೆಗಾಗಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಹವಾಮಾನ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ, ಮಳೆಗಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ವೈಪರೀತ್ಯ, ವ್ಯವಸಾಯ ಮಾಡಲು ಕಾಡುಗಳನ್ನು ಕಡಿಯುವುದು, ಹೆಚ್ಚುತ್ತಿರುವ ಜನಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರಣಗಳಿಂದ ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳ ಆವೃತ್ತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ದಿನೇ ದಿನೇ ಕ್ಷೀಣಿಸುತ್ತಿದೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ಮೊದಲು ಒಂದು ಸರಪಳಿಯಂತೆ ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಇದ್ದವು. ಅತಿಯಾದ ಮಾನವ ನಿರ್ಮಿತ ಒತ್ತಡದಿಂದ ಇತ್ತೀಚಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇವುಗಳು ಸಣ್ಣ ಸಣ್ಣ ತುಣುಕುಗಳಾಗಿ ಮಾರ್ಪಾಡು ಹೊಂದಿವೆ ಹಾಗೂ ನಶಿಸುವ ಅಂಚಿನಲ್ಲಿವೆ. ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಕೇವಲ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಇಲಾಖೆಯಿಂದ ಮಾತ್ರವಲ್ಲದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ಜನರ ಸಹಕಾರ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸಾಧ್ಯ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಇಲಾಖೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಜನ ಸಮುದಾಯಗಳು ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಈ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಸಂರಕ್ಷಿಸುವ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿವೆ. ಈ ಮಿರಿಸ್ಟಿಕಾ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳು ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರುವುದು ಒಂದು ವರ. ಇವುಗಳನ್ನು ಕಾಪಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಹಾಗೂ ಬೆಳೆಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗುವುದು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ. ಈಗ ಉಳಿದಿರುವ ಜಡ್ಡಿಗಳನ್ನು ಮುಂದಿನ ಪೀಳಿಗೆಗಾಗಿ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಿಸುವ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಮೇಲಿದೆ.
Earth is come across with global. Ice ages that were interrupted between this warmer period. And likewise, when we take this geological time scale, that all process, it is facing different kinds of extinctions and mass extinctions also. And likewise, in this period, we are in the Holocene period, and in a short period, this human has created some space for himself to make it history, that is something we have called as Anthropocene. So here he has created a lot of changes by emitting, causing more carbon emissions. And here that Earth from the 4.6 billion years ago, it has come across with all these ups and downs. What we are saying, this is to address the short period issues of this Anthropocene, please. And when come to that nature-based solutions, as we call it as a, since morning, many of our delegates, including Ravi sir and Vasant Reddy and even our Dean sir, everybody was telling that what we have to do and where is the address, where is the solution for this thing. That nature is itself is having the solution, that's it. And today I am very happy that this symposium is organized by the Forest Department. It is the sole custodian of forest. And our main research publications from I5, that nature journals and everywhere, they are saying that restoring the natural forest is the best way to remove the atmospheric carbon. That is the important findings. We have findings, and if we do that one, we can sequester the carbon dioxide, which is required for keeping our earth warm level below 1.5 degree or even up to 2 degree. That is one thing we can say here. And likewise, forest has the major part to play here. And another global initiative is that Barn Challenge. In this Barn Challenge, we are going to take back that degraded land into a forest areas, that is restoring that forest area, and global target is 350 million hectares, and India's challenge is 26 million hectares. By 2030 we have to achieve this one, and there is a plan for that, and ICFRI and other ICR institute are sitting together to work for this target achieving. And if we did that one and completely we take that entire 350 million hectare into the forest, that again we are going to sequester 42 petagrams of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and total we have to take out from the atmosphere, it is 730 billion tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So simply protecting our forest, that means existing forest we have to protect. And we should not waste the time saying that policy framework change, this policy framework change, and we are giving the leniency to our food production. If we doing that one, definitely we won't achieve that our targets. And simply we will waste the times and deliberating a lot. And first and foremost thing is protecting the existing forest is must. And for that it is a happy occasion to say that Forest Department make the policies as usual and very strict policies. Next please. And likewise, if we want to take out that extra carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, there are concepts, that is a big concept, bioenergy with carbon sequestration and storage. And we are converting that biomass into energy, and from that emitting biomass from conversion, we have to store it in the earth surfaces, and that requires lot of time, money, everything. And likewise, if we put something like that, industrial machines to sequester the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and store into the either deep in the deep sea level or in the below the earth surfaces, that also require a lot of money and machines. And they are all cost-based investments. And when we thinking about nature-based solutions, if we protect that simple forest and we can sequester more carbon, and these main nature-based solutions are longevity-based one, and we have to put the time for that. And we are not over a day, we are over a fortnight or something, we can't change. And we are the three concepts, that is protect, manage and restore. We have to protect the existing forest, and we have to manage the land use changes. That is means agriculture and even agriculture landscape. We have a vast areas of plain lands without any trees. Just our Lakshmikant sir or another were telling that east to west, and even our VC sir has told that we east to west, that plain land should have some greenery. In that vast area, we have to bring some greenery into it. Likewise, and degraded lands, that is swamps, or even our wetlands, even the local wetlands, that we have to protect and restore, so that we can achieve the target of carbon sequestration, please. And another concept from the research point of view, from the global perspectives, and China and India are leading the greening of the earth. That means India is also a part, and China is also making the big differences in greening of the earth. And in China's case, it is happening, they are pursuing the ambitious forestry programs. They have putting large-scale afforestation programs, and they are trying to sequester, and their main aim is to address the land degradation, air pollution, and ultimately climate change. And in India's case, what is happening? This is happening in agriculture landscape, and we are not much invested, but our farmers are investing in that. That is, much changes is happening in the greening of earth from the farmers' front, and farmers are practicing this perennial horticulture, even plantation crops. That is happening in India, and it is showing, and this study is studying that green leaf area coverages of the earth's surface in the different months of the year. So based on that, we have that suggestion that India's changes in the green cover is happening in the agriculture landscape. It's a good thing it is happening in India, and hope that it will be reported for carbon sequestration as well. Next please. This is just for supporting my document. I captured that Google Earth image only. It is my village Mundre in Tarikere Taluk. It was there in 2020 like this, and now we can see the differences. Even I myself witnessed my land only, I think it is somewhere near that in the red patches there, it is in between, is there my land, but still we have not, particularly this portion, there my land is there, we have not made a plantation, but all around we have a arecanut gardens, within that banana plantations is there, within that coconuts are there, and some are planted boundary plantation, not many, because of they want pure arecanut plantations. That kind of changes is happening. Please next. Another initiative in the global level, that is Global Green Wall. This is the important program that is African countries are promoting, and they have developing, that is nearly 8,000 kilometer and 15 kilometer wide patches of green wall. That is just like a next world wonder maybe if it is successful, and now some success stories are coming and they are showing, and they are building this green wall to protect the extension of that Sahara desert and avoid the degradation. And this is one of the important program under the United Nations Convention for Combating Desertification, and this kind of initiatives they are taking place in the global level. Please. And India case in 2020, it was a very long back it is planned, and India is also building a green wall, that is Aravali green wall. That is also a good initiative that is taken place, and it is also one of the nature-based solutions to address these climate change issues, and it was launched recently in 2023, and here they want to build that green barrier in 1,400 kilometer wide and long and 5 kilometers wide from Porbandar to Panipat. That to avoid the extension of Thar Desert and to address the carbon sequestration issue. And this is also one of the part of our bond challenge target work. And in that regions having that mining activities. Another concept from local and to our family level, this one initiative from one sociology professor from Dungar college in Rajasthan, Sham Sundar Gnani. He won the Life for Land awards. He started that plantation work in the concept of familial forestry. With these all backgrounds, I want to share my research work with respect to the afforestation of salt effect, saline sodic salts. salt affected saline sodic soils, please. And here we know that nothing will come. Only Prosopis juliflora, that is thorny Prosopis, will grow in the Ballari regions. That will only come. And what I show in that photograph, that villages which are facing that salt affected land area, and this Prosopis was introduced in the 18th century, and in 1885 the Prosopis pallida is also introduced into India, and we planted this Prosopis pallida in the Ballari region, and in our research farm it is growing well, and we have 90% survivability. We planted in that saline sodic soils, and now that plantation is established, it is showing the consistent growth, and now that we have planted in two density, one is 3 into 3 and another one is 6 into 6, and that growth is saturated for height growth, it is a 7.5 meters, and tree diameter is continuing the growing. Please. Next. Likewise, we have estimated above ground biomass, and we can harvest up to 32 tons of biomass in the above ground biomass in high density, and 64 tons in low density, and 64 ton in high density. And likewise carbon sequestration, and also we have quantified that CO2 and net oxygen release capacity from these plantations. And these are the changes we observed from the two blocks of that plantations. And EC, pH, and ESP, that exchangeable sodium percent, SAR, they are a little bit positive things we are observing from under these plantations. Please next. Soil organic carbon, available nitrogen, and available phosphorus and potassium also showing the significant changes. And these soil chemicals that related to this salinity, they are also having the changes. And we want to check these things with the existing is superior or juliflora is superior, and we compare that one, and in that also this Prosopis pallida is on par with that species. Please next. And it is showing that similar trend in sodium absorption ratio, exchangeable sodium percent, EC, exchangeable calcium, magnesium, and sodium. And we also observe the changes in the vegetation underneath the vegetations. There are different Abutulum, Irritum, Palanthus virigata, Tremipeta also coming up very well, and these grasses also coming up very well, so that we can turn them into a silvipastoral systems. Please. And this is the photographs, and we harvested biomass of 480 grams per square meter and 380 grams per square meter in low density and high density stands respectively. And we published on papers, and we got some message from one of the authority working on this Prosopis juliflora complex, and they are telling that your technology is good, and you can you share the technology with us for exchanging with the African countries. That he has made, and he was suggesting us to collaborate with the International Livestock Research Institute and also University of Nairobi, Kenya for the further research work. And this is the graphical conclusions. We planted this Prosopis juliflora on saline sodic soils in a 9 years time, and we can have a changes in the soil salinity conditions, and we can also have the direct economic benefits by harvesting the firewood alone, 9,000 to 16,000 rupees per hectare from that lands. This is one of the nature-based solution to address the local problems from my side. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramesh, for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Any quick questions, one or two?
Instead of Prosopis juliflora?
We have not tried Prosopis cinerea, sir. Prosopis cinerea, that Bunny Mara, yes, we have many, and just like Rajasthan situations, in our regions also, in and around Ballari, solitary trees will be there, and not much used for our peoples. Just like what Sir Devagiri sir's presentation, I was saw that lady climbing on the tree and lopping the branches for feeding the animals, goats. Like that practice is not existing in Ballari regions, and we have not tried, sir.
So what research work you presented, that is as a part of your PhD or
No,
that's a
it's
separate project?
It's a separate project, sir.
So under that, you gave a comparison. So what is the stage now actually? Are you monitoring this over a period of time, all those parameters?
Yes, sir. Since 10 years, I'm working on this, sir.
Good. Okay, thank you, Ramesh. If there are no questions, with the next oral presentation. And I request Dr. Jadegowda to make a presentation on orchid ecology in transition. I request Professor Jadegowda to please stick on to the time, because followed by this we have also poster presentations.
It's humanly impossible to complete within 5 minutes, but I will try showing you some pictures of them otherwise. Okay. So, next. So, orchid is one of the monocots. You must be knowing, having a simple leaf, and it has got parallel venation. Next, you go. It is one of the why orchids are very important, because nature is involved in it is the indicator of the ecosystem health, and also it is also a niche of the mutualism, commensalism, and also the orchids are playing major role of pollination, one of the highest diversity plants in the family plants in the entire ecosystems. They are also the sensitive to disturbances, and most of the hybrids they deceive like other organisms. Like some of the orchid appear like a bees. So bees, the bees are thinking that it is a female bee, so they try to come and pollinate. In that way, they are actually perpetuating its population in the nature. That's what it is very important. See, one of the orchids there, growing on a deciduous tree, the orchid also deciduous, but it is deceiving like trees flower instead of orchid flowers. So orchids, the pollinator will come and they will pollinate. That is the mechanism. Next. And it has got cultural value also, as you know that Bettadavu and the many people in Assam, they have a festival known as Bihu festival. And the women and everybody used to adore the flowers. Next. I told you there are parallel venation. It has got velamen roots. It has multi-layered spongy tissues, and flowers are bilaterally symmetrical, 3 sepals and 3 petals. One of the petals are modified into lip-like attraction for attracting the pollinators, and the fruits are known as capsule. In each capsule there are 3 million seeds. They are one of the very tiniest seeds in the world. Next. So the flowers are cyme and spike. And as I told you, 3 petals and 3 sepals. One of the petals modified into a lip labellum to attract the pollinators. It has been modified in that such a way. Okay, next. So they grow in different habitats like epiphyte, lithophyte, terrestrial, aquatic, saprophytic, etc. Next. And they have got 2 monopodial and sympodial growth stage, you know already. Next. In the world, there are 30,000 species of birds. The Orchidaceae is the only family has got highest number of species, 30,000 species in the world. The maximum orchids are located in the Latin American country. Next. And in India, we have 90%, almost 900 species are located in the northeast region compared to Western Ghats. Next. There are 1,300 species in India. In Karnataka, in Kodagu, we have around 60, I think according to my study, there are 120 species. According to the recent standard literature, we got around 60 species. Next. We have done research on that. We documented some orchids by following orchid diversity assessments. Next. Next. Okay. These are the habitats we studied, 6 habitats. Next. Yeah, next. Yeah, next. Yeah, next. We documented around 56 epiphytic orchids. Next. These are the epiphytic orchids. Next. There are 24 terrestrial orchids we documented from our College of Forestry. Next. These are the diversity of the terrestrial orchids. Next. These are the iconic, major, beautiful orchids found in the forested area. Next. According to our study, that highest diversity was found in somewhere in the Brahmagiri region compared to other regions. Next. There are endangered and rare orchids we recorded. Next. And conservation, we have been doing a lot of conservation. As you know, that conservation is nothing but planning and management of resources, man-made resources or human resources for the sustainable utilization with following objectives. Like here, as you know, that diversity maintenance, all those things. Conservation, there are 3-4 types, you know, in situ, ex situ, and sarcastic conservation. Next. These are the in situ conservation area. This is strictly maintained by the Forest Department. Forest Department is helping a lot to maintain the forest, the orchid diversity. Next. And these are the orchid deciduous ecosystem. We find these major iconic orchids. Rincocelis retusa. Next. These are the terrestrial orchid. Pectalis gigantea is a beautiful orchid growing in the grasslands of the ecosystems. Next. This is another species. Next. This is the Sarcasitum conservation. Sarcasitum is nothing but the tree, the native trees are the genetic resources which are growing in the native, any plantation in agroforestry which has got more native trees are called Sarcasitum conservation. You see, one of the orchids growing in the agroforest system called Aridis crispa, which is one of the native trees, plants, and which is epiphytic in nature. Next. We have been doing some ex situ conservation from the College of Forestry, Ponampet. And next. And this is the Chetterley Research Station. Next. Even climate change we have been doing, some changes we have been observed in the plants. Next. You know, there are some plants, some orchids are early flowering. Next. Due to climate. And even rainfall and temperature also play a major role in early flowering or late early flowering and fast withering. Due to change, some orchids are early flowering and immediately they will wither out. So next, these are the species early flowering and fast withering. Due to climate change, I am comparing data is also required. Next. And these are the data we have observed. Some orchids are early flowering and fast withering, and they have shift the flowering season also due to climate change. Still we need to support the data. Next. So some niche modeling also, one of my students studied a vulnerable orchid called Dendrobium barbatlum, which is a orchid which is growing in the mid-elevation climate, and he has observed that there is a suitable area for this particular area. In the future also, it may survive if the environment is or climate is found suitable, so they may extend beyond the Western Ghats. That is the idea we have studied. Next. So even invasive species also more in the grasslands and all, creating a lot of problem for orchid establishment. Next. We have observed that there is one type of terrestrial orchid is migrating from lower elevation to the higher elevation because of ideal climate. Next. And we have been doing the restoration of orchids. This was done by TBGRI, one of the Vanda orchid species. Next. And this is our restoration activity in BRLs as well as in College of Forestry. Next. And this is the restoration efforts we have been doing from our College of Forestry. Yeah, this is one of the terrestrial orchids in the Arslan Valley region. Next. And thank you so much. This is our team, and because of paucity of time, I could not able to cover the entire research aspect. Just giving. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Chidegowda. Yeah, maybe one or two questions. So I have one question, Dr. Gowda. You said about the shift in time.
Yeah.
Can you go to that particular slide? What is the normal time of flowering and what is the shift actually?
Yeah. So it's about 2 to 3 months difference I could see.
Okay.
Yeah. Here, see. Earlier we have been observed from 2011.
Okay.
April, June, that Vanda tessellate is actually state.
Normal flowering is April, July.
April to July, but we have been observing the February to March. Some 3 3-4 months difference will be there. This is about 10 years observation. We have been, every year we have been doing that actually. Even dendrobium acorn September, October, but July it starts.
No, I think this is a very interesting study that you are doing. What is my suggestion for you is, you please continue with these studies every year. See, it is very well known that the temperature is causing a lot of or it is affecting the plant phenology, right? Already the IWST is working on that. How the phenograms changes with the change in temperature and the weather pattern. So what I suggest is actually in 2011. After that you have not.
No, we have been doing every year data we have, but I'm just giving the data we have got.
That is a suggestion. That is a suggestion. Of course. Thank you, Dr. Chedegoda.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the students? He is called as the Orchid Man of Karnataka. Okay, big clap to him.
Even at the College of Forestry, Sirsi, they have been initiating somewhere, under the leadership of the Professor Dean Dr. Vasudeva. And now I have seen that even yesterday when I arrived here, after visiting Dean, then we have been to Kukanamane, Allide. There are so many orchids there in that Kukanamane region. It's a very good Sopina Betta. I think it's one of the Sopina Betta. We have an area of orchid diversity.
Please help UAS Sirsi to also establish.
They have been already, I think more than 10 species they have already established on trees, natural trees. So we need to.
Sorry, good. Dr. C.R. Patil has some questions.
Sir, you was talking about conservation and also mentioning that the seeds are very difficult to germinate. My understanding is that all orchids are obligatory dependent on mycorrhiza for germination, establishment.
For that I said two aspects.
So, not yet finished. My only suggestion is not mere germination. You should also try with those organisms which help germination and establishment for better establishment and conservation. We are thinking to see for germination of orchid require mycorrhiza. Endomycorrhization is called endomycorrhizal mutualism. So orchid seeds are very tiny. In one small capsule of orchid, seeds have got 3 million seeds. For seeds are a lack of endosperm. They need energy from the mycorrhiza. So the mycorrhiza takes amino acid from the orchid seeds. No, that's okay.
And that's how it's helping. So mutualism aspect also we are planning to work. Some of the orchids, especially soil alli, ಕೆಲವು ಆರ್ಕಿಡ್ ಮೈಕ್ರೋರೈಜನ್ ಐಸೋಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಸರ್.
ಆಯ್ತು, ಅದು ಸಜೆಷನ್. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಓಕೆ ಫಾರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಫರ್ದರ್ ಸ್ಟಡೀಸ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಓಕೆ, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಆನ್ Mr. Bhartesh Valmiki, the next presenter.
ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಭರ್ತೇಶ್ ಬಿ ವಾಲ್ಮೀಕಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಯಲ್ಲಾಪುರ ವಿಭಾಗದ ಮುಡ್ಗೋಡ್ ವಲಯದಲ್ಲಿನ ಅತಿವೇರಿ ಪಕ್ಷಿಧಾಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪವಲಯಾಧಿಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ದಿನದ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಸಿಂಪೋಸಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಆಯ್ದುಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂತಹ ವಿಷಯ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕೀಸ್ಟೋನ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫಾನಲ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ, ಫಾನಲ್ ಎಕೋಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಅ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ಕೇಪ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟಿಂಬರ್ ಡಿಪೋ, ಹಟ್ಟಿಕೇರಿ, ಉತ್ತರ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಓಕೆ, ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ನಾವು ಕೀಸ್ಟೋನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಸೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಫೈಕಸ್ ಸ್ಪೀಸೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮರು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಮಾತನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಶ್ವತ್ಥ ಸರ್ವ ವೃಕ್ಷಾಣಂ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವೃಕ್ಷಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠವಾದ ವೃಕ್ಷ ಅಶ್ವತ್ಥ ವೃಕ್ಷ. ಸೊ ಆ ಅಶ್ವತ್ಥ ವೃಕ್ಷನೇ ನಾನು. ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಸುಮಾರು 3,75,000 ನಮ್ಮ ಭೂಮಂಡಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ವೃಕ್ಷಗಳು. ಅದೆಲ್ಲದರಲ್ಲೂ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠವಾದ ವೃಕ್ಷ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಶ್ವತ್ಥ ಜಾತಿಗೆ ಸೇರುವಂತಹ ಆಲದ ಮರದ ವೃಕ್ಷಗಳು. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪೂರ್ವಜರು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಆಲದ ಮರದ ಜಾತಿಯ ವೃಕ್ಷಗಳಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಹತ್ವವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದೀವಿ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅರಳಿಕಟ್ಟೆ, ಆಲದ ಕಟ್ಟೆ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ದೈವದ ಸ್ವರೂಪವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಮುಂಚೆ ನಾವು ಪೂರ್ವಜರ ಪುರಾಣ ಕಾಲದಿಂದಲೂ ನಾವು ಈ ಆಲದ ಮರದ ಜಾತಿಗಳನ್ನ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಟ್ರಾಪಿಕಲ್ ಎಕಾಲಜಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಜಾನ್ ಟರ್ಬೋಗೂರ್ ಕೂಡ 1968 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕೀಸ್ಟೋನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಸೀಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಗಮನಕ್ಕೆ ತಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಕೀಸ್ಟೋನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಸೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದಿರಾದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಪರಿಸರದ ಏನದು ಸಮತೋಲನ ಕಾಪಾಡುವಲ್ಲಿ ಇದರ ಮಹತ್ವ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಕೀಸ್ಟೋನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಸೀಸ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ನೇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಸೀಸ್ಗಳು ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಫೈರ್ವುಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪಲ್ಪ್ವುಡ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಅಕೇಶಿಯಾ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಕೋಲಿಪ್ಟಸ್, ಕ್ಯಾಸಿರೋನಸ್, XYZ ಸ್ಪೀಸೀಸ್ಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಬಟ್ ಕೀಸ್ಟೋನಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದರದೇ ಆದ ಒಂದು ಮಹತ್ವ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಇದರದೇ ಆದ ಕೊಡುಗೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸೊ ಇದುಗಳ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡುವುದು ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಇವುಗಳನ್ನ ನಂಬಿಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಜೀವಿಗಳಿಗೆ, ಪ್ರಾಣಿ, ಪಕ್ಷಿ, ಕ್ರಿಮಿ, ಕೀಟ, ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಜೀವಚರಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಇವು ವರ್ಷದ 12 ತಿಂಗಳು ಅವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಹಾರನ ಒದಗಿಸಿ ಆಸರೆಯನ್ನ ಒದಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಬಂದಿರ್ತವೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಪರಿಸರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವುಗಳ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಇದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರವಾರ ವಿಭಾಗದ ಹಟ್ಟಿಕೇರಿ ಮರಮುಟ್ಟು ಸಂಗ್ರಹಾಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಸುಮಾರು 10 ಜಾತಿಯ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಜಾತಿಯ ಮರಗಳು ಕಂಡು ಬರ್ತವೆ. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ 130 ಮರಗಳಿದ್ದು ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಸೀಸ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಟಸ್ ನಕ್ಸೋಮಿಕಾ ಕಾಸರ್ಕ ಮರ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಕೇವಲ 10.5 ಹೆಕ್ಟೇರ್ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 160 ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಇದು ಫೈಕಸ್ ಪಾಲಿನೇಷನ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್, ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟ್, ಬಟರ್ಫ್ಲೈಸ್ ಇಂದ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೇ ಆದಂತಹ ಅವಿನೋಡಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಸ್ಪ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ವ್ಯಾಸ್ಪಿನ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯ ವ್ಯಾಸ್ಪಿಂದ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದು ಪಾಲಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇದು ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲೈಸಿಮ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ವ್ಯಾಸ್ಪ್ ಬದುಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಆ ವ್ಯಾಸ್ಪ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಪಾಲಿನೇಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವೆರಡನ್ನು ನಾವು ಫೈಕಸ್ ನ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಆ ಸರೌಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಹಾಗೆ. ಅಬೌಟ್ GTD ಹಟ್ಟಿಕೇರಿ, ಸೊ ನಾನು ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ ಏರಿಯಾ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಇಲಾಖೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆಯಾಗಿ 77 ಮರಮುಟ್ಟು ಸಂಗ್ರಹಾಲಯಗಳಿರ್ತವೆ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಜರ್ ಡಿಪೋ, ಮೈನರ್ ಡಿಪೋಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಟ್ಯಾಂಕಿ ಡಿಪೋಸ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆನರಾ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆಯಾಗಿ 11 ಟಿಂಬೋ ಡಿಪೋಗಳಿರ್ತವೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರವಾರ ವಿಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಏಕೈಕ ಮರಮುಟ್ಟು ಸಂಗ್ರಹಾಲಯ ಅದು ಹಟ್ಟಿಕೇರಿ ಮರಮುಟ್ಟು ಸಂಗ್ರಹಾಲಯ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಂಕೋಲಾ ತಾಲೂಕಿನ ಸಕಲಬೇನ ಗ್ರಾಮದ ಸರ್ವೆ ನಂಬರ್ 102ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡು ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದರ ಟೋಟಲ್ ವಿಸ್ತೀರ್ಣ ಓಕೆ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಸಾರಿ ಸರಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಓಕೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ಟಡಿಗೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿರುವಂತಹ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಅವಾಗ ನೋಡಿದ್ರಿ. ಸೊ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆಯಾಗಿ ಓಕೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆಯಾಗಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್. ಈ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಟ್ಟು 750 ಜಾತಿಯ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಮರಗಳು ಕಂಡು ಬರ್ತವೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 97 ಜಾತಿಯ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಮರಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 21 ಜಾತಿಯ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಮರಗಳು ನೋಡಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮರಮುಟ್ಟು ಸಂಗ್ರಹಾಲಯ ಹಟ್ಟಿಕೇರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಜಾತಿಯ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಮರಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಟ್ಟಿಕೇರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಮರಗಳನ್ನ ಆಧಾರವಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ಇದನ್ನ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಆಹಾರ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡುಗೆ ನೀಡುತ್ತಾ ಟೋಟಲ್ 118 ಜಾತಿಯ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಂಡಮಿಕ್ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಮೈಗ್ರೇಟರಿ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ RET IUCN ರೆಡ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅಂತ ಟೋಟಲ್ 17 ಜಾತಿಯ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ. ಸೊ ಡಾಟಾ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನಾವಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಟೋಟಲ್ 80 ಜಾತಿಯ 800 ಮರಗಳನ್ನ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಮರಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಡಾಟಾಗಳನ್ನ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಆ 800 ಜಾತಿಯ 800 ಮರಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು GPS ಅನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅದ್ರ ಡಾಟಾನ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು 4 ವರ್ಷದ ಅಧ್ಯಯನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 100ಕ್ಕೂ ಅಧಿಕ ಚೆಕ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ತಯಾರಿಸಿ ಈ ರೀತಿಯನ್ನ ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲೈಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಓಕೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಥ್ರೆಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ರೋಡ್ ವೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ವೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ರೀತಿ ಇದರಿಂದನೂ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಇಂದ ನಾವು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಪರಿಸರವನ್ನ ಮತ್ತು ಆ ರೀತಿ ಮರಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಳೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ 800 ಮರಗಳು ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, 800 ಮರಗಳು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಜಾತಿಯ ಮರಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಆ ಜಾತಿಯ ಮರಗಳು ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಗಳಿದಾವೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದು ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಯಾವ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಡಾಟಾನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ 10 ಜಾತಿಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಂಡಮಿಕ್ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಇದು ಮೈಗ್ರೇಟರಿ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್, 17 ಜಾತಿಯ ಮೈಗ್ರೇಟರಿ ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಡಿಪೋ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥ ಇಮೇಜಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ IUCN ರೆಡ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಕೆಟಗರಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ 1 ನಲ್ಲಿ ದಾಖಲಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಸುಮಾರು 17 ಜಾತಿಯ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅದು 10 ಜಾತಿಯ ಏನಿದೆ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಬೆಂಗಾಲೆನ್ಸಿಸ್. ಸೊ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ 10 ಜಾತಿಯ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಮರಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ GT ಅರಟೀಕೆರೆ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಇಲಾಖೆಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆನರಾ ವೃತ್ತದ ನೋಡಲ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಗಳಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಪುಸ್ಕರ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಅರಟೀಕೆರೆ ಡಿಪೋಗೆ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಬಂದು ಈ ಪ್ರದೇಶವನ್ನ ವೀಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತಸಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಟೈಮಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ CF ಸರ್ ಮತ್ತು DCF ಸರ್ ಕೂಡ ಹಾಜರಿದ್ದು ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ಈ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಹಿರಿಯ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ರಿ CC ಡೀನ್ ಸರ್ಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಅಧ್ಯಯನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಹಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀಡಿರುವಂತಹ MD ಸುಭಾಷ್ ಚಂದ್ರನ್ ಸರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಒನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್. ಎನಿ ಕ್ವಾರೀಸ್?
Thank you, Bartesh. Any questions? See, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾನಲ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ನೀವು ಅಂದರೆ ಸಜೆಷನ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಈಗ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಅ ಚೆಕ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್.
ಸರ್,
ಬಟ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇಂಡೈಸಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್.
ಸರಿ ಸರ್.
ಬರ್ಡ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಈಗ ಶಾನನ್ಸ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ, ಓಕೆ, ಸಿಂಪ್ಸನ್ಸ್, ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇಂಡೈಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಲುಕ್ ಇಂಟು ನೋಡಿ ಕೆಲವು ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ.
ಸರಿ ಸರ್.
ಈಗ ಫಾನಲ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿಗೆ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಇಂಡೈಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ದಿಸ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡನ್. Okay, yes. So you can definitely use some more statistical analysis into this work and you can go for publication.
Right, sir.
Very good.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Questions? Any question? One or two questions?
ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಮರಗಳೇನಾದರೂ ಒಣಗಿ ಸಾಯೋದನ್ನ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರಾ?
ಸರ್, ಆ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಮರಗಳು ಒಣಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಜಾತಿಯ ಮರಗಳು ಒಣಗಿದಾವೆ, ಬಟ್ ಫೈಕಸ್ ಯಾವುದು ಒಣಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಯಾವುದು ಒಣಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
If there are no questions, I would like to compliment Bartesh Valmiki. He is a Deputy Range Forest Officer in Karnataka Forest Department working in Dharwad division. Right now he went to Attiveri Bird Sanctuary. Actually he has mapped the entire that landscape. First of all, he has identified all the species, and the diversity has been estimated of both plants, then the faunal butterflies, and also the insect diversity, and also the hornbills which are visiting that particular government timber depot. In the meantime, he, in cooperation with Ravi Shankar, the DFO Karwar, they have moved a proposal for declaring that area as a biodiversity heritage site.
Okay, very good.
In fact, it is at the proposal stage. Shortly, we are recommending this proposal to Biodiversity Board for declaring that as a heritage site. So, well done, Bartesh. Keep it up.
Very good, very good.
And we too have a lot of expectations from you in Attiveri Bird Sanctuary.
Okay, I call upon the last presenter of this session, Dr. Raju Chauhan, on effect of silvi-horticulture system on fruit production and climate dynamics in northern triangular zone of Karnataka. Professor, time allotted for you is 5 minutes.
Good evening to all, and thanks to the Department of Forest and college who given an opportunity me to share the sum of experiment and session chairman. My topic was effect of different timber tree species, which is called silvi-hardy system, for how the sapota yield can increase or decrease, and what is the negative impact or positive impact. Generally, this forest land was nearby Dharwad city, which is 25 kilometers, where land was allotted to the university during 1976-77, And plantation was took at the year of 1978-79 or 1983. So when the AICRP agroforestry was initiated, before that it was a farmland of forestry, and the land which was around 50 acres, it was adjoining to the farmer land, and that farmer land which is generally encroaching, and there is no species development. Hence the 50-acre area was removed the accessory species. Fast growing and highest productivity of the biomass and growth, and followed by the next what do you call as the height and volume is more in case of eucalyptus, followed by teak, whereas other plants like Lysostromia and next Acacia auriculiformis, which are also going to provide third rank out of the 5 species, and they are generally the ecosystem of the forest, which is growing in the ecosystem area, where we can call as a how is the commercial important for yield increase in the sapota or decrease or maybe optimum. So when the biomass is more, then probably we can understand that volume calculation. Based on that, we have used the non-destructive method of carbon sequestration, also observed in the eucalyptus and followed by the teak, and the next is followed by the acacia. Where Lysostromia and Delbridge, they found very what do you call the non-significant, less, because their biomass and the growth parameter, we can understand that these 2 species are less performing on the carbon sequestration as well as volume when compared with the other 3 species, but they are also have the positive influence on the some other idea, not only carbon, they are also helping to the what kind of ecosystem development Sylvia-Harty system. Next slide. So this is how the biomass yield and carbon sequestration we have explored. Next please. Yeah, this is how sapota trees between the 5 tree species. Just generally, they are the estimating officer of horticulture department who will estimate the fruit productivity per plant and per hectare. And generally, we go for auction, the sapota. Last, I will give the income of that sapota also within the tree. Next, please. Yeah. So now the interaction of these all species on yield of sapota. So at the age of 42, 43-year-old of sapota now. So generally, sapota, when with the eucalyptus, the yield per hectare is 84.12. So because eucalyptus maybe have fast establishing and fast other things, and it is almost absorbing of all nutrients from the soil, so plant maybe have the less in the productivity, yield also decreases. So compared to these all 4 or 5 species among that, so Delbridge latifolia, so we can see that the highest fruit yield per ton, per hectare in ton is 94.50 when compared with the other plant, and followed by the Lysostromia. Now these 2 species are less biomass establishment in case of volume or carbon, but these 2 species also influence on the other interaction. For sapota wise, it is not going to be affect on the sapota yield when compared with the timber species. Next slide. So same explain. Yeah, this is income what we call. So last 2020-23, so in one of the 2021, the 50 acres of sapota with the Sylvia-Harty system, so generated the income to the university and actual, but we have not calculated the tree cost of, that is the income of the trees, just to calculate the income of the sapota. Generally, so we want to compare the teak or rosewood, it needs the long duration, 60 years and above. So those trees are not calculating the income. We are just calculating the income of sapota if you take the plantation of like Lesistromia, or we can go for rosewood. When the interaction with the rosewood and Lesistromia, the sapota yield is doesn't decreases because of perennial crop, canopy wise also the less. Next please. So now the conclusion topic. So when we, this model is suitable to the maximum farming community, because agriculture farmers are what they want to go for double income. So double income is not possible in case of tree species. So because trees are long duration crops, we know, and farmers want that trees are long duration, they understand. But what is in between the interim income, how they can expect? So this Silvio-Hattie system with rosewood or Silvio-Hattie system with Lesistromia, and last one, teak they can take, but in the teak area, the sapota productivity is almost 50% decreases. But in the long run, the income from the teak and income from the Nandi or rosewood, generally we can comparison. So it is almost where the transition belt of Dharwad, where the farmers are interested to grow the teak with fruit trees more commonly, and rare in case of the Nandi as well as the rosewood, because they know the rosewood will get a lot of long duration where you can expect the yield, and other things are no department harvesting method also very difficulty. Hence, Nandi, they can plan with the sapota because they will have the long run income up to the 50 year or 60 year as soon the sapota yield maybe decreases. And the Silvio-Hattie system with the rosewood or Lesistromia is more suitable in compare with the other system. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chaman. Are there any questions? It was a nice presentation. If there are no questions, I have one. Okay.
Hello.
Thank you. Since you followed RTCB systems, whether you followed with chemical recommendation, fertilizer applications or without fertilizer? Yes, in your table observation looks that since the Dalbergia is a leguminous tree, so there could be some other parameters. It increases the nitrogen fixation.
Yeah, that's what I also observed, because the leguminous nature, there will be the nodulation and the end fixation. Okay, so which might also have helped in improving the yield compared to other intercropping with other species. So that.
Sir, rosewood.
Yeah.
Rosewood is the influence on that one.
Any parameters related to these?
I don't think they have considered that parameter.
Okay, sir. Okay.
But Dr. Raju, I have a question here. See, you talked about the economics of sapota, but when you talk about the system as such, you are talking about the agri-horti system, Silvio-Horti system. So Silvio-Horti system, you have to also take into account of the income or the volume produced from the trees. Then only you can full economics and say, see, this itself is an incomplete information. See, it is a suggestion for you. You have to take the help of economists. Okay, you also calculate the stumpage value or the increment. You can estimate the you have the growth data of the trees for so long years. You work out the MAI and CI, right? And based on the offset values, right? You have a stumpage value, volume. Based on the offset values, you fix the price and estimate the
cost of
timber cost. Yeah. Okay. Then over this, it's a long experiment. You can come out with the solid recommendations. Yeah. Then you work out the internal rate of returns, IRR. Yeah. So that gives you a clear picture whether system is, of course, ecological is one. Also, economics is important. Yeah. And that answers your the left out part of climate dynamics.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I said it is the last presentation, but there is one more, presentation. Vilas Jadhav, Impacts of Climate Change and Coping Methods to Overcome Risk and Uncertainties. A case study of areca-based cropping system.
Good evening to all, respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. So myself, Dr. Vilas Jadhav, and working as assistant professor in Institute of Social and Economic Change, Bangalore, Ministry of Agriculture Office. So I am here with permission to chair. Shall I start, sir? Yeah. So I think since morning we are seeing about the in larger scales of data, how the land scale falling forestry. So my topic is entirely different. I am going towards down to the near to farming family house. So how the farmers are really feeling that impact of the climate change. Next, please. So I don't want to give the much more about the introduction about the climate change. We have very well known about, but I wanted to go through with my real result. What farmers are feeling and what is there really fell down and adopted there the climate change impact in this. Please, good. So totally my study was conducted in these 4-5 different types of the forest agro-based or areca-nut-based cropping system. One is in open beta, that is multi-purpose forestry species we are using. Another one is the Sylvia horticulture system. Here the areca-nut garden, and third one is the home garden type. So these are the different areca-nut-based farming systems which are affected from the farming. Okay, next. So this is my study area. In Karnataka, totally 4 districts we have chosen. That is Shivamogga, Uttara Kannada, Chikmagaluru, and Dakshin Kannada. These are the Western Ghats area where the areca nut main dominant crop areas. Please, good. This is my sampling design. Totally 180 sample farmers we have chosen it. And Uttara Kannada we have Sirsi as a hometown where I was very much impressed to present my project report to here. This is one of the biggest occasion to go to the farmers. Then Shivamogga, Tirthali, Dakshin Kannada, Putturu, Utla and Bantwal, Chikmagaluru, Tarvikere and Koduru. So these study area are further divided into upper Western Ghats, that is around 60 farmers we have covered. That is the different areca nut based farming systems. Then coming to the second one is lower Western Ghats, and third one is the Malnad, that is the plain areas. Please go. So this is just socio-economic characteristics of the sampling farmers. So we have covered almost 180 sample farmers. Average age is 49 years. Family, and these are the actually almost 50% of the farmers are participating in the social security works like that. And very interestingly, the total land holding size is 4.48 acre. Out of that, 3.22 acres are areca nut area only. So they are major focusing in the areca nut, and on average we have got all the 4 regions, 33 years of experience having the farmers we have interviewed in our this project purpose. Okay, please. Next. So these are since morning we are talking about the climate change, just in terms of the overall by names. So these are the main parameters, or we can call it as a change of variables, which we feel really nowadays, yes, climate change is happening. Many such. So first one is daily temperature, daily relative humidity, daily sunshine hours, and annual rainfall. These are the major indicators which we have taken over the 30 years of period, last 30 years we have measured. We can see, and again we have calculated descriptive statistics like mean, standard deviation, coefficient of variation, skewness, kurtosis, and F statistics. So to see whether, not only by seeing the gross level we have changed, but it should be from some evidence says that our data is revealing truly. So over the mean you can see the daily temperature is also, sometimes it is decreasing over the period, relative humidity, but we'll see the rainfall. Huge quantum of uneven rainfall, it comes 6 month, 3 month rainfall, it comes suddenly in 1 or 2 days. It's very dangerous to causing for the overall this thing. So this is related to the upper Western Ghats, please. Second. So similar result we have observed in the lower Western Ghats also, but skewness is a little bit in significant ways. So when you see the overall Western Ghats, upper Western Ghats and lower Western Ghats, these 2 regions, so we got a very commendable result. All the results are, these variables are causing. So change over the decades with respect to 1 or 2 variable, at least 1 or 2 variable, they are changing drastically. Either the high humidity or sudden high temperature or heavy rainfall. Due to these climatic factors, we are suffering landslides is also coming, flowering is also going on, decreasing the yield sometimes it will be increasing yield. So we don't have the controllability over these climatic factors. So please. So this is the, just I am trying for the another statistical method, linear trend I have used. When we use for this, only relative humidity and rainfall has a significant in trend in Western Ghats only in two regions. That we can see the yellow highlighted regions. I have fitted the trend. So it will be significant at 0.1% and 0.5%, please. So this is the just diagram I have fitted the trend. Over the period you can see the difference in temperature, relative humidity, and this figure is pertaining with the upper Western Ghats. Similarly, for the this is with the lower Western Ghats also. We can see here drastically fall in the sunshine. Suddenly in the peak of 99 again, there are the still spikes are there, please. So, similarly, this is another in the total Western Ghats we have taken, and this is another one is correlation I have measured. So how only with relative humidity in 2. See, very critical stages we have measured the climate change, how really it was impacted to the farming community. So rainfall at 1, I have taken the observation from January to February. First, whatever the total rainfall in under. Rainfall 2 is first fortnight of the March, and rainfall 3 at May to November. Total rainfall, quantum of rainfall in these 4 regions. Similarly, daily temperature, relative humidity 1 at morning 7 a.m. and relative humidity 2 at morning means afternoon 2 p.m. So when we see this correlation, it is inverse relationship between the relative humidity 2 and areca nut yield. If the areca nut relative humidity is high, in case of afternoon, areca nut yield will be decreasing. So please. So next, stepwise regression is another technique we have used to see the how these levels are giving. So here rainfall 3 and humidity 2 are significantly negatively affecting to the areca nut yield. So other one is the path coefficient is important new techniques which has been capturing the impact of a relative. You can go to the next slide. So you can see the indirect and direct relationship between the two, these yield and as well as the work. So please next. These are the just path relationship, and these are the method of actually please next. Best. Perception is most important. Previous is index. Previous slide. Yes. See, we have observed almost 180 farmers. Out of 180 farmers, these variables are most important. Either way, they are non-adaptable to awareness climatic change. How to mitigate, farmers are not aware. Either to go for the any techniques to adapt the climatic change, almost 25 to 26%. 44% of farmers, they are those who have gone through the training like KVKs, colleges, they have adopted almost 44% micro irrigation and diversification crops. So next, too many slides are there. I have calculated the two index importance. One is CDI index, which is lower and median for the region for tree development index. Two indexes where we have got the more number of in Sopun Beta and followed by the Western Ghats, and these two here are highly diversified cropping indexes is there. This is a total valuation carbon sequencing also we have done in these studies. A very interesting study we have got Western Ghats and Malnadi regions, and also we got the upper region and lower regions. So this is the carbon sequence per farm, how much tonnages we are getting. This is the cost of cultivation, totally whatever and return. Okay. Thank you. Any queries?
Thank you, Dr. Vilas. It was a nice presentation. Any quick questions? One or two? Okay.
Hello.
Sir, in your case study, like areca yield you calculated, no, sir, with the different, like for all the study area, like you took the 4 districts, no, sir. Like whether the fertilizer application for all the 4 districts were same, like how is that, like you are correlating with the areca yield and the weather parameter.
Yes.
How it influence the areca yield. How weather parameter is going to influence the areca yield in with all 4 districts.
We have collected 180 farmers data yield over the 1 year period.
Okay.
With respect to these variables, means climatic change factors like humidity, sunshine, rainfall and all.
Okay.
Then we run the regression, not by measuring the manually, to see the relationship between whether these weather parameter really impacting on the areca nut yield or not.
Whether point is not comparing the yield, but that is a constant factor.
Okay.
That is a constant. Whatever the management practices that is taken on as constant, right? See, your other variables of climate, weather parameters, so how they influence on the yield given those constants across the region. That's the idea. And you said about the models. What is the regression models you said?
Sir,
what are the, actually no, just want to ask, what is the regression coefficients, R square?
R square value almost 3.51 is one which we have not. Totally 7 model I have tried.
Okay.
Out of 7 which is more than 0.5 and parameters are significant, such models we have restricted.
Best fit model you have.
Best fit model we have used.
Right, good.
Chairman, I have a question. Yeah.
Oh.
You said midday relative humidity is going to reduce the arecanut yield. That is the strongest message that you have given. Now there is also almost 40% adaptation of the micro irrigation. Micro irrigation system, about 40-45% adoption. Now in fact, irrigating throughout the day, in the midday also, might actually be the major problem with this. Like, you have a problem of water scarcity, you want to avoid it, go for micro irrigation. That actually automatically increases the midday relative humidity. It may cause some disease or pest and yield may be lower. You think this story is okay? Or understood. No, it will have a, just like relative humidity increase itself will not reduce the yield. It should have some either pathology or entomological connection. I was just trying to correlate whether this is also related to micro irrigation that we have been supporting.
Sujit? Yeah.
I think he has a point actually, so you have not understood what he was trying to ask. What he's asking is, all this farmer's yield that you have collected, perhaps you have calculated these 4 parameters, weather parameters, and correlated your yield and said that these are playing. What his question is fundamental. Have you ever asked those farmers whether they are giving up fertilizers to their crops? Because production also directly related to what you give also. It's not only the weather parameters. His question is, while you say that the yield per niche, whether you are also taken into consideration the fertilizers used. Am I right? What are you asking?
Shall I answer? Sir? Okay. So cost of cultivation, in that section we have covered whether the farmers they are using the fertilizer or not. Actually, due to the time constraint, we have not used. So majority of the farmers in areca nut, they are using the fertilizers. But we taken that as a constant variable.
Sir, this is how it's
taken
calculated.
Those are the constant variable. That is how the variables are as clearly defined.
When the sample size is too high, you will have somebody applying, somebody not applying, somebody applying middle. So that will cancel out. So the sample size will take care of it.
Constant, that's the way you have taken. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving the opportunity.
Thank you. Yes. I think we are end with this technical session 2 on forest utilization and agroforestry, which had total 7 presentations, and of which 3 lead talks and actually 4 oral presentations, and each of the the lead talks and the oral presentations are really innovative, and definitely there are a lot of researchable ideas that have to be, my young MSc students should take, the gaps or maybe the researchable areas from these studies. I think, my point of view is especially Dr. Ramesh, the talk nature-based solutions. So he very importantly highlighted on, the first is conservation, then restoration, and then the management. And always too much of interventions in the nature is also not good. With the minimum interventions, how we can, bring back that ecosystem to a resilience. So also Dr. Hegde talked about the climate and its impact on the wood adaptations, and rest of the speakers, Dr. Jedegoda, orchid, always orchids are very beautiful to see, but when you try to handle and work with them, it's very, very difficult as well. So with this, I thank my co-chairmans for helping me to conduct this session in a time precisely and a very scientific way. And I also thank rapporteurs, Dr. Inamati and Dr. Jagdish, for making the proceedings. I hope they will compile after this session. And I thank the organizers for giving me and my co-chairmen an opportunity to chair this session. If co-chairmen have some points to say? Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So now we have not yet called the end of the day. Okay. Still we have got a business to do. That is a poster presentation. And also will not be kept dry there. So there will be some kind of coffee or tea that will be served there. With that, you can also go around the posters and get ideas and also give your valuable suggestions to the poster presenters. Thank you.
I would like to thank Dr. G.M. Devgiri, Dean Forestry, College of Forestry, Ponampet, for successful completion of technical session 2 on forest utilization and agroforestry. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to co-chairmen Dr. Ravi Shankar and Sri Praveen Kumar Basru.
म प नि प म ग म ग स नि स स प प म प नि प म ग म ग स प प म प नि प म ग म ग स नि स प नि स ग स ग म ग म प ग म प नि सा प्राणी पक्षी सस्य काशिया श्यामला गंधगार